The game never feels the need to
patty cake shit. Give a dog a bone.
Good job. You remember nursery rhymes poorly.
I really didn't remember any of it.
Is that one of your one skill? Do you put that on your resume?
Patty cake, twinkle star. I don't know what that was. Anyway, we were just yelling about Zero Escape again.
We've spoiled literally the entire game.
We do a lot of that off camera all the time. We have very long conversations about Zero Escape, just trying to unpack this shit. And
there's a level of
but we're not here to talk about that today.
No, there's a level of deep compression that's necessary for Zero Escape, but it doesn't actually work.
Yeah, if you think we talk about the game a lot while we're playing it, we talk about it even more while we're not playing it, just to try to decompress and process. And it's part of the reason.
I would genuinely love to do an interview with the guy who made Zero Escape and ask him every question I have.
You know what's going to have to happen, right?
What?
When we finish the second Zero Escape game, we're going to have to do like a Zero Escape non-rated game spoiler cast. Where we try to combine. We just talk about both games for a while because we'll need to for therapy reasons.
You know what the unfortunate side effect of that is?
And then we'll have to sit on that and not air it for months while we wait for Zero Escape to finish airing.
Yeah.
Because we have to record it when it's freshly recorded. But then there's like the next thing of like, but then everyone will be responding to that one, and then we'll have to do like a response video spoiler cast about all the comments where we argue with all the comments, which I'm actually kind of excited about the idea of.
I think the worst part though is that by creating that entire video that you've come up with, we will be basically the first people to do an in-depth analysis of Zero Escape, because not a single human on Earth wishes to touch it.
That's like the inevitable thing, right? We have to do a fresh spoiler cast when we finish the game with all of our shit, then wait for it all to finish airing, and then air that, and then do a whole spoiler cast of arguing with the people's comments that respond. Yeah. Which, frankly, arguing with Zero Escape fans is one of the funnest things, because they're broken. It's broken. They're not
but the difference is they're not broken in the same way that
they're all broken in different reasons.
Yeah, they're not broken the same way Sonic fans are, which all of them just have this allegiance to like Sonic is good. No. But everyone for Zero Escape is like Zero Escape's good because of this, and you're like, that's not in the game.
Zero Escape's at least complicated enough that they can like have detailed reasons. Whereas Sonic, it's just like, it's part of my childhood, and I made Jacob the Hedgehog and a Jacob the Tails.
Jacob the Tails.
Jacob miles per hour. and like all these like basic like baby's first personas, like My Little Pony fans.
Yeah.
And like it's all like part of their identity, and they feel personally judged. Which happens in every fandom, but in those ones, they literally made identities. Where people don't usually make I hope they don't make their Zero Escape OC that's just doomed to suffer and die 20 times so they can live in one universe and be a generic anime character.
Well, and the worst part is that they can live in this generic universe, and you'll never know what happens to them, because Zero Escape doesn't care about its characters. So the moment they're off screen, like, is Lotus still alive?
I named my character Dr. Schrodinger. Like, arguing with Zero Escape fans is really fun, because whenever we say anything about the game, they're like, no, idiot, this is what's happening in the game, and that's what that means, and this is how that mechanic works, the morphogenic fields, and this is what the 999 ending means. No, they go on this big rant, and then the other no idiot comment next to them in the same comment section says completely different things about all those things.
Yeah.
Like, they're so confident about how Zero Escape works as a universe, but none of them have talked to each other to realize that none of them agree on how the universe works, because us being negative about the game is the first time they've ever had to witness somebody else's opinion about the game that wasn't just vaguely glowing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's the best writing ever, and it's so genius, and he's a hero.
Well,
they don't say anything specific.
Yeah.
So, like, the moment we challenge it, they have to, like, defend it and say all their really specific things that they think is what's happening in the story, but then all the other people that say that shit also don't agree with them about that shit, but they're not looking at each other's comments to notice that they're all saying completely different shit about the universe.
Yeah, that's I think the only hard part I struggle with is that people will argue and complain that, like, because we didn't play, like, if we do a spoiler cast, because we haven't played Zero Time Dilemma, it's like, we can't talk about it because we don't know the full story.
That's the thing that always happens, right? Is that, like, people, the entire time you complain about anything in 999, all of it's invalid because some of it might be contradicted by the ending.
Yes.
But, like, what are you supposed to talk about during, like, the 50 hours of talking you're supposed to do?
Like, you're not, it's not a mystery, so don't try to solve it.
That was a bit odd, but maybe the ending will explain it, and I'll totally remember all these details then.
Oh, I remember. I remember all of them because I'm so salty and I'm waiting for the answer. Like, the Cogni fucking robot.
You're saying they've all crystallized in your salt?
Yes. If there's no explanation for why no one else talks about the Cogni robot in all of Virtue's Last Reward, the game is unplayable. It is an unplayable mess.
For me, the giant thing I'm waiting for the whole game is just like, without saying any specific spoilers, it's just that like, eventually at the end of 999, you get an explanation for why that game was happening, and it's twofold. You have like, because there's kind of two bad guys in the like, I don't mean like by which I mean two divergent factions.
Yes.
Involved in Nonori games.
There's clearly a resistance.
In 999, there's two Nonori games in its narrative. One in the past and one is the one you're playing, and they both have an explanation.
Yeah. And
they're both really dumb.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But at least I know why the Nonori game's happening.
Yes.
But they're both really dumb. Like they're super dumb. I can't wait to see the explanation for this one and see if it's like, is it even dumber?
That's the thing.
Because
I don't think this one can possibly.
The problem with this one is it has the sequel baggage.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of like how Jigsaw, like at one point he's like, I put you in this because you were like abuse your wife or whatever the fuck dumb reason, and like he had like people that he thought didn't respect their lives enough and then put them in a death game to make them appreciate their life or something, was like the dumb, impossible, stupid logic Jigsaw had.
Yeah.
But then every subsequent movie, it got more convoluted and more nonsensical, and his reasoning became even less reasonable.
Didn't he like literally put someone in one of the death chambers for smoking cigarettes?
Basically.
Where he was like, you smoke cigarettes, you don't appreciate your lungs, you're gonna die. At some point, what?
At some point, he doesn't even match his own original logic. That didn't work to begin with, because you have the sequel baggage. So like the idea that there's a second Nonori video game that's even longer than the first one, which also itself was two micro stories about two different Nonori games.
Yeah.
This like the idea that this one's going to like concretely piece together why it was happening and stuff like that is like I can't wait to see the explanation.
Well, for me,
it doesn't just have to explain why they're in the death game. It has to explain why the puzzle rooms exist.
Yeah.
Because like the puzzle rooms had a reason for existing only in the first Nonori game that happens 9 years before the first game.
Yeah.
Like the puzzles have only existed for a reason in a Nonori game we never played. And they did not exist for a reason in the game we played. And I'm fully prepared for them to make no sense in this game too. The third Nonori game, or fourth one technically, or something like that.
Yeah. Wait, I just realized, that is weird that we went through 999.
And none of the puzzles needed to happen.
None of the puzzles every
puzzle chamber was there for the dumb spoiler reason I've given, the recursive logic.
Well,
but they didn't serve a purpose in universe.
But I'm saying the idea is, in theory, the puzzles exist because it's just a transplanted. They just took the facility and reused it.
Just copy pasted from the previous one.
But the problem is that the whole premise of that facility was that there's two people and they need to work together to solve the escape rooms. But we don't need that. We just, as Junpei, come as an omnipotent deity.
We gotta stop because we're gonna go so far into spoilers.
And it just
enjoy the series, everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait. I'm just because we're close now.
We're almost done.
Like you guys are far off because it's airing in the past and everything. But like we're getting close to the conclusion of Zero Escape, and I'm just like, I want to hear the dumb reason. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for 3 months to hear the dumb reason, and it's not going to be good enough. It can't be. Nothing could justify the last 3 months of our life of playing this game.
My one trigger is going to be based on who Zero is. Because we have the general idea of who we think it is, but if it turns out that our assumption is wrong, and Zero is completely not who we think it is, and it is like it is the most ridiculous.
I can't wait. It's gonna be Seito Kaiba. Zero is Seito Kaiba. This was all his plan to get the dark magician from Yuki 30 years ago.
Kaiba.
Did he even want the Dark Magician? What did he want?
He wanted Exodia, I think.
I'm just thinking.
No, he wanted Exodia.
I'm just thinking of Team Rocket. So I'm like, he wanted Pokemon. What was his Pokemon? Kuribo. That was his Pikachu. Was Kuribo.
Yeah, I think. But you know what? Okay, this is irrelevant. But like the one thing that pisses me off about Kubo or Kuribo, whatever, or Kaibo or Kaido.
Seito Kaiba.
Yeah, Kaiba. The thing that pissed me off about Kaiba. The fucking asshole owns the Yu-Gi-Oh company. And he's like, he literally goes to Yugi's grandpa's shop.
It's called Duel Monsters.
He owns the company.
It'd be really confusing if it was named after the protagonist in universe. Like, we're big fans, Yugi. Or it's like just a coincidence he's named after that. He has the same name as the entire card game he plays.
That's a really crappy parent. But it's like naming your kid.
I like that they couldn't come up with a good name for it in universe.
What, besides Duel Monsters?
You'd never call it Duel Monsters in real life because it'd be the dumbest name. It's so boring. But in universe, they couldn't come up with a cooler name than Duel Monsters for their anime. It's like, it's not the real name. Fuck it. It's Duel Monsters. And the real reason is because it was one throwaway episode in the original manga.
Yeah.
That was just
which was not relevant. Yeah, which was not.
There was a random card game once in an episode, and then they moved on from it to other death games. Yeah. But then they're like, people really like that card game, and we can merchandise that forever. So let's make that the entire show now, and then make several other shows where the hair keeps getting exponentially more ridiculous.
Every generation, the hair gets better. The thing that always bothered me was that the guy, he owns the goddamn Wizards of the Coast trading card company, more or less, but he literally sends somebody, like he sends an agent to Yugi's grandpa
to steal like a rare card.
To literally kill Yugi's grandpa and steal a card.
It's all a poorly thought out plot of a one-off like 20-page manga.
Yeah, but the whole time Yugi's sitting there fighting him, and I'm like, can't you just print his cards?
Yes.
You literally own, not only do you own the company, you bought an island and had people come to this island on a private yacht.
It's all because it's a relic of the previous manga where just a hilariously evil person would come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And somehow a life-threatening situation
great. I love those people.
For those that haven't, I think we recommend this multiple times now. If you haven't done it, read the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's baffling.
Yeah,
they'll just get into like the middle of a deadly situation at like a diner, and I'm like, why is this happening? And how did you think of a death game that fast?
Well, it wasn't him. Remember, the Pharaoh's the one who does the death games. That's his whole.
There's a I think he like covers this guy in like flammable alcohol and balances a lighter on his hand.
Yeah.
While the guy's pointing a gun at him. It's like, if you shoot me, you're gonna drop the lighter and burn to death. And I'm like, what is happening? I don't even remember how we got here, and it was 5 pages ago.
It was basically, I remember, it was Yugi and the girl having a date basically at the diner, because Yugi's like, oh, I hope the girl likes me, and this guy shows up and he's like, I'm going to steal your girl, and he's like, don't steal my girl, and he's like, I have a gun and I'm just going to steal your girl. And it was like, well, this escalated quickly, and like then Yugi kind of runs away, and the guy's sitting there with the girl like being creepy, and then Yugi comes back as an adult. He's like, how about we play a game? And he like he just spills alcohol on the guy, because the guy orders beer. And so he spills beer on the guy, and the guy's like, oh, what the fuck, I'll shoot you. And he's like, I have a Zippo. And he just like lights it, drops it on the guy's gun as he's pointing the gun at Yugi. And he's like, if you shoot me, you'll burn. And the guy just sits there and looks at him, and he's like, doesn't think for a second to use his other hand to take the lighter off.
There's one of the most hilariously contrived ones I ever saw was that there was, I think what was happening is some thug was trying to stab Yugi on like one of those like slanted roofs.
Yes.
The one that's like metal with like the grooves that go up.
Basically like a church roof.
More like a warehouse roof.
It was
like a warehouse roof.
Was it? I thought they were climbing.
It was like one of those metal roofs that's like grooved. But
okay.
The grooves are pointing down towards the ground.
Yeah.
So it's like a shop roof that's slanted, and it was by the ocean.
Yeah.
And what happened is this guy's trying to stab Yugi, if I remember correctly, and Yugi's just running from him with like an open gasoline container, and he's just drawing lines everywhere. And the grand reveal is he made a maze. And so he lures the guy to the beginning of the maze, then lights the maze on fire, and the guy has to navigate the maze in order to jump into the ocean to not die. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this is the show. This is what became the stupid card game show.
I love
Yu-Gi-Oh! Kunai whip chain. I'm an offensive New York accent, or whatever the fuck's happening.
What, Joey?
Yeah, with the Impossible Pompadour, and Bandit Keith is a real character name.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no.
That's why the anime's first episode had to censor a dead body out of it. Yeah. Because there was a dead guy on the floor because a guy died in Grandpa's card shop.
Yeah, Yugi's grandpa.
Anime, they just like airbrushed it out.
Yeah, well, no.
It's like looking shocked at an empty room.
When it was brought over to the States, it was done by 4Kids. And 4Kids was like, whoa.
Because it was being aired for like 10-year-olds. Yes. And they didn't want to show like a murdered body in the first episode of the show that will never have that stuff ever again.
It does.
Oh, right, because that
Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Yu-Gi-Oh! In Japan is brutal as fuck.
I just remembered, the other thing that like is a grand reveal for a lot of Americans that grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And shit that they don't know about is that, and I didn't know this for a long time, is that the Shadow Realm was made up by 4Kids.
Yes, it was.
There was no Shadow Realm.
No.
This thing where they banish people to the Shadow Realm, which is dark as shit and scary already.
It sounds kind of,
It sounds like you literally rip their soul out of their body and send it to like a private hell dimension. So it's really not that censored to begin with. But that literally is like dubbed in fake dialogue that they just added to the American version of Yu-Gi-Oh! And otherwise didn't change anything, I think.
No. The reason
I think all these people just die or something,
do.
right? Like,
yeah, they
just
kill
kills them. Yeah,
he literally just kills losers of a card game.
Yeah. Because it's all death games still, because that was the origin of the manga. It's all like a weird version of Death Note where you play solitaire, and if you lose, you just die of a heart attack. But there's like, I banish you the Shadow Realm, and then like the screen shatters, I think, was what happened.
Yeah, it's weird. It does like the still frame, screen crack, and then shatters, and then someone goes like, which is literally them getting shot. Like
they're dying in Street Fighter.
Yeah, but the problem is like in for American audiences, we always went with the assumption that it was the bright colored rose silly goofiness of Yu-Gi-Oh, but like Japan got this very dark children's card game.
What's weird is I don't think that much of it was changed.
A lot of it was changed.
I don't know if that much was.
There was a lot of
I feel like that one change recontextualizes it really heavily, and they kind of stuck with that.
No, there's a lot of scenes that got cut out. A lot of them were a handful of either too violent, too perverted, or combination
just
of the
weird
both.
Moments like in Pokemon where James just has boobs for a while, and you're like, what?
Well, they're like inflatable boobs. It's just there was a lot of weird stuff about Yu-Gi-Oh! That just kind of never gets talked about. And then subsequently, after Yu-Gi-Oh! Existed, like after Yu-Gi-Oh! Finished, it became so popular that Japan itself altered and was like, we need to be like kid friendly. We can't have these like dying
It's
things.
like that thing where there's some weird show about a super squad and a princess that fights a weird monster and shit like that in Japan, and it's not that popular in Japan, but it's real popular when they replace it with American teenagers in America. And so suddenly like the American show is commissioning the Japanese show to make more seasons because they need the source material for all the fight scenes. So like there was that weird thing where Power Rangers, that was Power Rangers, was that it's a real trip to watch an episode of Power Rangers, then watch the same episode of the Japanese show, which is that all of the fight scenes with the Power Rangers and like the kaiju and shit, both versions are exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
But the weird jarring tone shift to like all the high school kids, then like Bulk and Skull and all this nonsense is instead like a weird thing with like a child princess and other stuff going on, and it all matches the aesthetic of like the kaiju fight things, and it's just they just paste over those with a different show.
Like really hip 90s California kids.
It's a real weird trip.
It's
like the difference between like Power Rangers and like Neverending Story or something. Like it's just a different show.
And I would genuinely recommend watching some like a season of a Sentai show because it is just hilarious. To see how weird it is. I would recommend Kikaider. Kikaider is just abysmally funny.
It's a really weird
phrasing. It's abysmal, and I'm not making things up. It is abysmally funny where like there's literally a scene where they have an like kind of like an explosion or something, and you can literally just see someone taking a handful of
throwing it.
Yeah, and throwing it. But it's a handful of just like shit that they had to replace a broken set. Like it's just lights,
like a handful of weird supplies.
Yeah, well, it's like
dirt or something.
No, like one of them was a wall. The what's it called? The faceplate for a wall switch, like a light switch. just thrown in there. A handful of screws,
just random behind the scenes debris.
It's like basically they called the maintenance guy and they're like, do we have any kind of like material we can use? And he's like, I got a bucket of repair parts. And they're like, good. And they just throw it. And it's so funny because he's busting through a wall and you just see like the faceplate for a light switch just, and you're like, wait, did he actually just tear a light switch out? Like that's like he just broke an electrical line. Is that okay? But they're great.
I guess it wasn't connected.
And the costume for Kikaider, because he's like a cyborg man.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to put him in a costume where he changes from human form to cyborg form. And it's great because they put this suit on him, and the suit has tinfoil on one side to look like a robot brain. And so he has like tinfoil inside of like a clear case, but you can tell it's above his head so that they can't just cut his head off. It's Sentai shows are the greatest because they are so low budget and they are so
they're meant to impress like 5-year-olds.
Yeah, they're for just nobody. And but
that's the one thing that's driven home when I play Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Is that one of the interests your friend has is that he wants to be a Sentai actor. And he's like auditioning on like stage play versions of it.
Yeah.
Where like a bunch of children will watch and everything. And he's trying to audition there. And like, oh, the guy that plays the real guy is going to be here. And oh, they're going to pick a new villain and shit like that. And it's like, even in the video game, like it's the dumbest shit production where like it's like a bunch of striking poses and like shit kind of falling over and like it all looks super awkward and cheap.
If you ever see it in anime, because they'll always reference it in anime, it's always and I think me and when we went to Japan, we didn't see we saw a Sentai show. But it wasn't like the generic one where it's like like 4 people in colored costumes, whatever. It was It's even worse. It was the mascot for
like the district?
No, for the mall.
Oh. So you have mascots for everything.
Yeah.
Even the mall has a mascot?
Multiple stores in the mall have mascots.
Were they
and they were all Sentaiing together to fight against high prices. And they
That's one of those moments where you get the rare experience with Joe where he goes, boo!
Actually, Joe was clapping hilariously because it was basically like 4 giant like anthropomorphized store mascots, more or less, and they're just punching the yen or the Japanese yen sign because they're just beating prices down. And there's kids just sitting there like, go! And I'm like, this is a weird level of capitalism even America couldn't pull off. Like, there's kids.
That's a weird thing when you manage to get the children to like cheer.
Yeah, could you imagine if you had a Sentai group of like
sale on the money system they don't even like get involved in?
Yeah,
it's still too young of children.
But imagine if you had like the 7-Up guy, a Coca-Cola symbol.
Cool Spot.
Yeah, Cool Spot. You had the Chester the Cheeto. You had the Pringles guy. And you had some other mascot, the Rice Krispie Kids. And they're fighting money. They're like fighting American dollars.
It's becoming like food fight.
Yeah, but then you have kids sitting there going like, yeah, those stores are taking prices down.
I want to be Cool Spot when I grow up.
Right? And you have to look at that and go like, this is weird. You can't do this. Like, yeah. But Japan is weird because they have a lot of progressive stuff in some categories, but when it comes to children are just literally non-existent.
Growing up, the marketing strategy was just to be unreasonably hype about something.
Yes.
Like, build a, like, fucking hype-ass shit 80s heavy metal theme for your dumb toy.
Yeah.
And that's what you have, like, Crossfire and Rock'em Sock'em and shit like that. Like, you'll get caught up in the Crossfire. And it's like, oh my god, this is so... I want this song and I want everything about this, and if I get this toy, it'll change my life.
I mean, the best example of this is Pokemon. The theme song for Pokemon is like the antithesis of us as America.
That's the opposite of how most anime themes happen.
Yes.
When they get the American version, they never turn out like Pokemon.
No. And I think that's just like
yo ho ho, take a bite of gum gum.
I think the problem with Pokemon is that Pokemon was a culmination of
Shaman King.
Like, Pokemon was a culmination of all of capitalistic animation America coming together and being like, we can create...
It was a cross-media empire.
Yes.
Coming to America.
And they just came and they were like, we're going to make this the best.
Make sure you get the toys and the video game and the DVD and the card game and the collectible McDonald's meals.
If you look at it, if you want to look at it in a more scary sense...
I had the McDonald's thing where I think it was from McDonald's where you got like a Pokemon
Burger
that
King
would open up and it had like a gold
Burger King
thing inside it. It was like that.
I have all of them.
I was so hyped about those things for some reason.
Because Pokemon, the first movie came out, so they were doing a promotion at Burger King where you go get them, and one of them was...
oh my god, is that why I liked Burger King more?
Yeah.
It probably was why. as a kid, I liked Burger King more, which I haven't even been to a Burger King in like 15 years because I've never enjoyed it ever since I was old enough to think about enjoying anything.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, isn't Burger King just kind of awful?
It is. It's terrible food.
Like, just way worse. Meanwhile, as a kid, I was just eating chicken tenders all the time anyway, so it didn't fucking matter which one we went to. And I always thought the McDonald's ones were weird.
Yeah,
because like,
the McDonald's
Carl's Jr. and Burger King and everything were all the same, like weird breaded orange colored things.
Yeah,
the chicken nuggets
mystery
that are like
meat.
the super breaded children's chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
but McDonald's had like weird flaky pale chicken stuff, and it worried me, and I didn't know what it was when I was a kid.
Yeah,
so I didn't want to go there.
That's understandable. That's probably a good choice. That was and if you think about it in some capacity, Pokemon is, I would almost argue, the most successful merchandising product that's ever existed. Like, people like to claim that Star Wars is, but Pokemon, you have to imagine.
I mean, Star Wars probably is.
No, Pokemon has more.
So big.
Pokemon has more products than Star Wars could ever hope to achieve. Not only...
You mean just because of the number of Pokemon or something?
No.
I don't know if the quantity matters necessarily.
No, I mean, in terms of how many different products there are, Pokemon has an immense amount. And that I'm counting first generation only. Just the first 150. Pokemon itself...
then you have like a question of like quantity, though?
No, but look
at how much they're bought.
Look at it this way. On the show for Pokemon, like just Pokemon as a show, you could get Pokemon on almost as equal or about as equally the same amount of devices that you could for Star Wars.
Sure.
Because you could get Pokemon not only on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, but you could also get it on Game Gear cartridges. You can get on Game Boy Color cartridges.
Yeah. I don't think that the quantity of available platforms equates to being a larger product, though.
I'm saying I meant more in that's just the distribution of the show.
Yeah.
Then you come into the terms of product. You have every single Pokemon has a plush you can get of it. That's 150 plushes. Not only that, but then you get unique special plushes like Pikachu one, but Ash's Pikachu, because it has Ash's Pikachu hat. Then you have like specific like Squirtle, which has the sunglasses. You have the
may I direct you to Jenny Nicholson's video about porgs?
No, I'm aware.
Fuck, man, there was like 30 types of porgs.
Yeah, but
it's just the porg.
Well, the thing,
that's one creature.
Yeah. Well,
and there was 30 different products for the one.
Look at Pikachu.
One thing.
I guarantee you, there's over at least 200 different type of Pikachu plushes you can buy.
Probably, but that was literally just the porgs.
Yeah,
not even like any of the prominent things.
It's just Pikachu. One Pokemon from
Pikachu
Generation 1.
is the most prominent thing in the history of Pokemon.
No,
it's literally the most merchandisable element of Pokemon is Pikachu,
and he's not. That's why, and he's not a starter Pokemon.
Even as early as Gen 1, they made a Pikachu specific game just because he was so popular.
They didn't make that until
he became a starter Pokemon.
He became a starter Pokemon after the anime took off.
Exactly.
But I'm saying in the beginning, he wasn't even that relevant.
Yeah.
So
that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. He was just a random one, but people latched onto him so strongly that he became like the mascot for the entire franchise, and that never stopped.
No.
So that's why there's so much Pikachu.
Yeah.
Whereas Porg is one creature in one movie. Well, there's like 50 of them.
To some capacity, that's Disney too. Like Disney is not.
No, I'm using your metric for talking about this stuff. And I'm like, if we're just going to talk about how many products there are, there's an impossible number of Porgs. It's horrifying. And that's just the porgs, let alone all the actual things people want toys of.
I mean, but I don't know.
I feel like because it's almost impossible. Like, this is something you cannot know the metrics of without literally being a distributor or something and having stats. It's just going to be like a feeling. That's not, you can't really argue that.
True. But I think the difference is,
I really think that like there's probably a peak in Gen 1 where like Pokemon was so massive for a bit that it probably overtook Star Wars for a bit, especially since there wasn't any Star Wars. But I would say that for most of the time since then, I think Star Wars has probably just always been a bigger IP all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like Pokemon is like universally or like globally. I mean,
even on a raw level, I think that the Star Wars movie that comes out and a Pokemon game that comes out the same year, the Star Wars movie makes more money.
Does it?
Like, if we're talking like Force Awakens versus like Hawaii Pokemon, I think was the applicable Pokemon.
Aloha.
Like, I think Force Awakens probably made more money than the Hawaii Pokemons, even though there's two of them and they try to get you to buy both of them, and then all the merchandise and stuff like that, let alone like the horrifying amount of merchandise of each. Like, I don't really encounter Pokemon in stores anymore. Whereas every random store I ever walk into is full of Star Wars. Like, the fucking checkout aisle of every store just has weird Star Wars shit there that's irrelevant to everything, but it's all more Star Wars merchandise. You get Star Wars coffee. Do you get Pokemon coffee that often? When you go to the coffee aisle, do you find like Pokemon in there next to the Star Wars?
In America, no.
Fucking Star Wars is fucking everything.
I mean,
and America counts for more to an extent because there's 3 times as many people as there is in Japan.
Yeah, but
So, like, it's a bigger market to begin with, and Star Wars is real big. But this is literally like unverifiable without like intense amounts of research that's beyond the scope of our podcast.
Let's see. So I don't know how much.
Fucked up. We wasted the first 25% already.
Did we?
Damn it.
Oh,
damn you, small talk.
Hold on. Where is what?
Also, by the way, I was
Jedi?
talking. Not Last Jedi. I said Force Awakens.
Oh, Force Awakens.
Because that's. I think that's the same year as Pokemon. I don't remember what year that came out. The one that I couldn't. Everyone's like, "Were you gonna play this Pokemon?" I'm like, "I usually don't, but that one looks even more patronizing, and I can't deal with it." And you were not happy with that game.
I was not.
Even Game Grumps, they tried that, and they gave up in like half an hour. I'm like, this is awful.
It was a bad game.
I talked to Marty again about our conversation from last podcast.
Okay, well, that's a little... Okay,
with Blizzard and all that.
Obviously, profit-wise is going to be a little bit off. God damn it, stop.
What are you talking about?
Because I looked up how much money Pokemon Aloha made.
Do Pokemon games even make $1 billion?
Well,
like when they make a new Pokemon game, does it make $1 billion?
No,
because movies usually make like $1 billion.
Yeah, well, Force Awakens made $780 million.
Is that just domestically?
No,
that sounds like not. I'm pretty sure the movie broke $1 billion.
I don't think it broke $1 billion.
I think it did.
Let me find.
This is literally the most uninteresting thing to do a podcast on. Though.
But Pokemon Aloha sold 7.5 million units, which isn't really useful to some capacity because you have to convert units to
figure out that math.
Yeah, you have to figure out the math.
So it'd have to do prices were they and all that.
Well, it's a Nintendo game, so it's $40 for a DS game. So,
right, because DS games don't sell for $60. Right?
No.
Anyway, I talked to Marty about the whole.
Yes,
we were talking about the thing from last time, and can verify. Apparently, his clique of Blizzard fans are all still really mad about the whole Call of Duty being on their launcher thing specifically.
Really?
For me, you know what I want? Because for me, I see this as inevitable. I'm
what?
like, obviously, this is going to happen.
Well, yeah.
Because EA has their PC platform, Ubisoft has their PC platform, Valve has their PC platform. Of course, Activision wants their PC platform, and they already own one.
Well, yeah.
Because Activision Blizzard is one company. It's like old news now. They've been together for a long time, and people like are weirdly. I'm actually surprised how often people don't remember that they're like those two companies are together now. Their attempts at pretending they're not together so far have been weirdly convincing, I guess, where they just like they just don't put their brands together and their logos.
They just don't talk about it.
Yeah, there's
no reason to, because like when you open the Blizzard launcher, it just says Blizzard Entertainment.
Like, if Activision wants to be competitive, which they always do, of course they want to get in on the Blizzard launcher. Like that's for me, that's inevitable. For me, what I want every Activision game on the Blizzard launcher. I want the fucking floodgates to open and the deluge to pour in, and there's just like 100 Activision games in there within a year. You know why? Because then the Blizzard launcher would have to not be shit. Because they'd have to like add sorting options and filtering and shit like that, like Steam has, and it would be a competent thing instead of just a fucking irritating billboard of like 7 Blizzard games that they show you no matter what, even if you don't own them.
You know what I bet you they would do?
Because if they showed everything, it would be unusable.
No, what they'll do is they're going to keep the icons for Blizzard games, and then every Activision game will just be text that's below it that you have to scroll through and search.
Maybe, or like they'd show.
Or like
there'd be the new Activision games or the ones you're forced to look at, but then there's like a weird like click the plus sign to like open the.
Yeah, I bet you what will happen is there'll be a games tab.
The Blizzard launcher's so shit.
There'll be a games tab that looks like the library for Steam where you can search through all of your games.
Yeah.
But then there'll be the home page which has icons for the games you have installed and want on there, and that will be your quick bar for clicking games or finding out news on them and updates and whatever. So the icons will always be there. but then there'll probably be another tab for all the games listed out.
It drives me crazy that you can't favorite games and you can't make them display differently. The best you can do is kind of drag their order a little bit, and it won't even tell you which ones are installed without manually opening each one and one by one to check. Like the icon list doesn't tell you which ones are installed or not, and so or which ones you own.
Which is why
I'm like, it's a terrible.
Normally,
launcher.
you would organize.
It looks so bad. And I just don't want to look at Heroes of the Storm anymore.
I kind of do. I don't really pay much attention to it just because I own every Blizzard game. Every Blizzard game is installed, so it's just a no-mer for me.
It's also not a helpful screen. They didn't adapt the Blizzard launcher to be very effective at dealing with the fact that they love to make expansions that you have to pay for.
Yeah.
So several of the games have one or several expansions you're supposed to pay money for. And you can't really tell by looking at which ones you have and don't have without like trying to dig in and do the research.
Well, which ones?
Like for starters, like Diablo has an expansion, and World of Warcraft has an expansion.
Diablo has an expansion?
The way that, the Reaper of Souls.
Oh, yeah, right. Reaper of Souls.
World of Warcraft, they have a new system where they only ever have one expansion. Which you used to have to buy like the 3 expansions to get caught up, and that all went away. When I worked at Best Buy, we had all the expansions because there'd be an expansion launch for Blizzard for Lich King was the one where I was working at Best Buy. And so they had Burning Crusade and Lich King there because you had to buy both to play Lich King. And eventually they were like, fuck it, you can buy WoW for $20 and just that's all of WoW besides the new expansion, and then you buy the expansion, which simplified things greatly because otherwise they have the EverQuest problem where you look at the image of all the EverQuest expansions that were in the first game when it came out, and it's like like 20 boxes you're supposed to buy or something.
There's 27 expansion packs for EverQuest, and all of them are still roughly like retail price, so they're about like $20 to $25 per expansion. And
there's also the thing where StarCraft 2 is a trilogy of separately purchased games. But they're in one. They're one icon.
Yes. Well, that it will remind you. If you click on StarCraft, it will like on the side before, like below where it says play, it will have a big old thing. It's like upgrade to whatever expansion now.
I look at those things and I always want them to be like just a list of the things.
Also, it does,
so I can tell which ones I have.
It does tell you, by the way, you don't have an expansion. It does do that. Let me see. Because
it's time for the contortioning. That's an extra level of weird. And one day StarCraft 1 just showed up.
No, there's a
remake. And I guess I own one of them, but not the other one. Because you can play... They made a remaster, but you can only play the shitty old one for free.
Yeah. And
you have to buy the remastered. And they're both the same icon.
If you have... it's kind of hard because I do own everything.
Yeah, so you can't look at any of this stuff.
Well, if you don't own it, in the top up here, where like this... bar up here, it'll tell you upgrade. It'll say like you need to upgrade. You don't have the other expansion. It'll tell you up at the top. WoW does it. Well, WoW did it for me for a while because I didn't have.
Didn't have the new one yet.
I didn't have Battle for Azeroth.
Yeah.
So it kept annoyingly reminding me like you don't own the most recent Blizzard game. You're not a fan. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I will fucking buy your goddamn game.
We're gonna get you around.
Yeah, they
come to your door.
No,
they're gonna find you with their microtransactions.
It's they're efficient.
Anyway, we're here to do questions.
Yes,
which as you can tell from our like 40 minutes of not questions.
Yeah,
I'm good at this.
So this is another one from Preed. What films can you recommend from the last year?
And knowing how behind we are on questions, they meant a year ago.
No. This is May 14th.
The Last Jedi. What was the movie I keep trying to recommend to you? Shit. I don't think it's called The Forest. It's called The Ritual.
Okay.
You say a thing.
I would recommend watching Your Name, which is an anime movie about 2 kids who fall in love, and then a bad thing happens and they have to overcome it for love. That's what I would recommend. It's a good movie. It's a theatrical release, made the most money any animation movie has ever made in Japan, and yeah, it's good.
I was right. It's called The Ritual.
Okay.
Not to be confused with The Forest, which is a Netflix show, but this takes place in the forest. People go. There's a group of friends. They lost somebody, and I want to say that they were. I don't remember the exact setup. If they were like going on like a walk they normally went on with their friend back when he was alive, or if they were like commemorating the 1 year death by going on the trip that I think it might have been a trip they were planning on going when he was alive.
Okay.
And they just go on it after he's dead or something like that. And they basically get lost in the woods, and it gets like Scandinavian horror shit starts happening.
So Blair Witch?
It's a little Blair Witchy, with no camera stuff though.
Well,
it's all like a beautifely shot, nice filmed thing.
But it's like the same concept.
It's all creepy, and throughout the whole movie, you're like still not certain. Like, are we gonna? Like you keep, there's like they play with whether or not the supernatural stuff like is there or not, or
like,
if
they're just like
are they finding weird shit, or is there actually fucked up shit going on here? But how fucked up shit is it, and stuff like that. And there's just a lot of really fucked up visuals throughout it. Like not necessarily like even talking like what people would assume like gore, but like just weird, bizarre, creepy visuals of like that just keep building. And I like these slow build horror movies. Where essentially like if anything's going to happen, it's going to be like some crazy final 10 minutes, but everything up till that's going to be like just build and questions, and not knowing where this like what's going to happen or if something's going to go down. And it's just a real fun one. And I don't like forests, so it's creepy forests.
Why I keep saying The Devil's Chair is a good one to watch, because it's that same method. But yeah,
Shadow, you just had to find like the crunchiest thing to bring over to the microphone, didn't you? What is that even?
It's a bone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, if you hear that, that's guest star Shadow is just chomping away because we're professionals and have dogs on set.
But
yeah,
that's the only movie I can recommend. I have a bunch I have to go through because I got a fistful of them recommended me yesterday by Naya. So
I like The Quiet Place and Green Room. Green Room's probably not last year.
No, Green Room's the year before.
It's really hard to remember when things came out. Yeah, I don't think about that often. But like I'm the person that keeps going to the theater to find like the interesting horror, the interesting low budget horror movie thing that's coming out every month. And a lot of that's a real fun time.
Yeah, Green Room was 2015, actually.
Like, The Quiet Place was really tense and uncomfortable at times. I liked The Ritual more, and I liked Green Room even more, which I think I recommended to you recently, because I think it was on... And I realized it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
As far as, like, theatrical releases, I've kind of just been falling into the loop of watching, like, the superhero and Star Wars movies a bit. Because everything else, I'm just like... Like, I half the time I see a movie, it's because I'm like, hey, maybe we'll do a podcast about that. And that's the thing that people want us to talk about, right? So I go, let's go watch the new Star Wars movie and talk about it. But half the time I'm just like, I don't know what's on Netflix. I don't know what year this came out. I'm just watching stuff.
Did we do any spoiler casts this year for any movies that we both went to? Thor? No. I don't think we've gone to the movies to see a single movie this year, have we?
You mean gone to the movie together?
Yeah.
We saw Wonder Woman together, right? Which
that was
like last year?
That wasn't this year, though.
Well, they said the last year, which Wonder Woman might have been the last
No, I know. Days. I'm thinking of this year. Like, I don't think I've been to the movies to watch a movie.
No.
The last time I've been to a movie...
We spent a lot of this year playing Zero Escape. And we're just trying to get through that game.
Well, we did a spoiler cast on Avengers.
Yeah, but we didn't go together though.
No.
For me, the thing is that now that we're doing Zero Escape and we're just trying to get through that, but we started doing a podcast and we're trying to fit all this into one day.
Yeah.
The idea of trying to go to a theater to do this podcast, that just means we won't record any Let's Plays that day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Historically, whenever we see the movie together and then do a spoiler cast, that's more or less the day, because it takes so long.
It takes so long.
Like, it's actively a problem that we don't live in the same town anymore.
Yeah.
We can only get so much done each week.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, the last time I've been to a movie theater this year was to see 2 anime movies.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I stole Avengers. I stole Deadpool. I
saw them all in theaters.
Yeah, they just weren't worth my money. So that's my thing, is like I'm so picky about what I go see unless we're doing it for a spoiler cast. I won't go to the movies because it's a waste of $10 to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm not going to enjoy the movie, so why am I going to pay money to go see it? And it's just and I only liked one of the anime movies I watched, so I was like even more upset, where I was like, well, fucking goddamn it.
Oh yeah, Annihilation. That's one of the other horror movies.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's the one you laughed at.
Which
I knew was going. I literally knew it was going to happen.
The stupid bear.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about the thing. That's all. But watching Annihilation, I knew that if I recommended people that movie, it'd be just like the movie Splice with Adrian Brody.
Okay, yeah.
Where, because I saw Splice in theaters, and I was like into it. I was having fun with the movie, and I was seeing it with my dad, and it's just this tense, creepy thing happening with a really weird story. Because it's like, it's a weird kind of threesome story with like this couple that this couple that's like raising an alien mutant monster thing that like it's a child and it goes through puberty, then it's like an adult, and then it's like it wants to do with the sexy times, and I'm like, this is really uncomfortable and weird, and it's like gender flipping and shit, and it's like, it's a really fucking weird movie to watch. But there was this whole row of teenagers in the front that are just laughing the whole movie, and it's like, I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the hard things about watching horror movies in theaters, is that there's always the groups of people that will just like laugh at the movie and like ruin the entire experience. And that, like, for me, there's one scene in Annihilation that is like the most uncomfortable fucking scene ever, and I know that if I saw it in a different group of people in the theater, like, there would just be laughing during that scene.
Yeah,
it would ruin like the whole thing playing out.
Yeah,
in part because some people's response to being uncomfortable is to laugh.
Yeah, that's understandable. My problem is my sense of humor is just bad. So like Annihilation was just a comedy.
You also usually want all the characters and everything to die
every time.
Which kind of is the wrong incentive system.
Then build better characters. It's just you like well, Annihilation's a bad example because everything was stacked against Annihilation the moment the movie started for me.
By the way, your problem with these bottles went away.
What?
This is the 50% larger one, but hey, it's not a weird can on top.
What? Then they just got rid of the whole gimmick? What the hell?
A weird bottle. Well, this is the larger ones.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it's different.
Why is it different?
Have that one yet? What was weird is this was 10 cents more.
10 cents more for like how much more?
The 50% larger
50% larger?
It's like the other thing where monsters have the normal size one, then the 50% larger one. This one's 10 cents more than the other one was. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe the non-gimmick bottle's way cheaper to make.
Yeah, probably. I would wager.
I feel like I should have prepared for this question more and like done research of my viewing habits, but it's
not really
having trouble thinking of things.
I mean, just basically,
I also watch garbage.
I watch no,
because I will just passively like just hop in and just watch weird genre fiction and then be like, that wasn't great, but sure. Like,
how do you do that? How the fuck do people do that? Like, people will just look at a movie and go like, I'll just watch a movie, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't commit myself to that.
I'll totally just have an evening where I'm like, yeah, I'm done recording for the day, and I don't really play video games in free time because I've been playing them all day and shit like that. And I'll just like, I don't feel like watching any of my shows right now and going further on those. I'll just like watch one of these movies, and that's when I'll watch like Steve. Is it Steve Martin? No, Martin Freeman, the guy that played Bilbo and everything.
Yeah,
he's in a horror movie on Netflix that's like, it's like the zombie apocalypse happening in Australia.
Okay. So just real Australia.
Like, and it's exactly your favorite type of movie, which is a grown man that has to care for a baby.
Wow, just selling it real hard.
And that was largely an all right time. I just tried it out. Last night I watched Tao, which is a movie about there's like an evil Steve Jobs type character in the future, and he runs this mega corporation, and he has to make like this properly independent AI. And so what he's doing is he puts these chips in the backs of people's necks, and he forces them to do tests and forces them through different emotional states in order to like scan them. And then in like a lethal extraction process removes the chips and then uses that to help build his AI. Is these scans of brains that he puts people through that like they don't survive. Okay. So he's like kidnapping unwanted people off the street. You never see the outside world, but it looks like it's probably like Blade Runner outside and everything sucks. So he's kidnapping like street urchins and people that people won't notice and stuff like that. And the protagonist is trying to outsmart the house's AI in order to figure out how to escape the house. Before this happens and stuff. And it's like,
I mean, that sounds like an interesting movie, but the other part sounds not interesting.
Well, that's just the premise of why she has to get out, because bad things are going to happen. The movie's not about that. Like, that's not the plot.
Oh, okay.
That's what's happening to her.
Oh, okay.
And that's why she has to escape.
I like the idea of like a smart house being really actually genuinely intelligent.
So she's like in one of those horrifyingly like she's in one of those crazy mega houses like the Clockwork Mansion from Dishonored 2 and shit. Where it's like everything's beautiful and has cool art everywhere and looks really expensive and intricate and way too massive for like one guy to live in. And it's all run by an AI that's like a triangle on the wall that talks to you, which I think is played by that one actor that's in a lot of shit that's really good. The villain from he's the villain from Fifth Element, and he's Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, okay,
that guy. Yeah, that's in a lot of shit.
Yeah,
I think he's the AI.
Okay,
and I think he's the AI.
Not Patrick Stewart.
No, and like and so like she's like this AI has never been outside, so it's like it doesn't know what the outside world looks like or what anything's like. And she's like teaching him, she's trying to teach him what people are and what the world is. And it's all leading toward this idea of like trying to condition it to think that its master might be evil and actually breaking free of its own orders because that's the only way she can survive and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
it's like this whole thing's happening.
That's less interesting to me. I just like the idea of a house that's murdering people and it's like self-aware of it doing it. And it's just like, I need to progress. I need to get better. And it's just killing people to try to get better. That sounds like an amazing house.
No. It's
like Clock Tower taking out the scary guy where it's just a giant mansion, but there's like somebody killing everybody.
In this case, Tao is going to be replaced because Tao's the prototype for what the guy's trying to build.
Oh.
So he's trying to build a better final one so that he can actually sell it because Tao is unstable. Which is the whole exploit to be exploited.
Yeah. That's the very generic.
And it was.
Response.
And I click on it, and I'm like, sure, why not? Let's watch this. And I get 2 hours of a movie that's like, yeah, that was all right. These parts were bad, and these parts were good, and stuff like that. Where it's like, it's a lot of what you get when you're watching like schlocky like genre fiction to begin with, which is stuff I'm just comfortable like just consuming all the time. Which is like. Certain things will be really interesting. Certain things will be really dumb. Like the weird premise, or like the entire premise of how he's building the AI is odd to begin with. But the visuals are incredible, and like there's all these really cool, fun ideas. And also he has this killer robot called Ares that's controlled by Tao that just fucking destroys people, like just punches through them.
Oh, okay,
like
great.
And you're just watching this weird thing and just experiencing this story that's just like, what is this? This is bizarre. And then it ends, and that's the end of the thing. It was just fine. I don't have I usually a lot of stuff I see is stuff I wouldn't heavily recommend. It's just interesting weird things. Like I watched The Circle.
Okay, never heard of it.
It's 100 people wake up in a circle. Like they're standing on these little red circles in a circle. There's like 3 rows of them.
Okay.
And they're all facing this central thing. And every 3 minutes or so, it kills one of them.
Randomly?
And at first. And then they realize they can vote on who dies.
Wait, what?
Yes. So it becomes this 100
How did they not know that originally?
Because they just woke up there and that just happened. And like if you leave the circle, it kills you. And it seems that if you walk off the circle and it kills you, you're essentially sacrificing yourself because the timer resets. So you can like.
So if you don't want, no one can make a decision.
So like somebody can kill themselves to skip it, or like people are going to vote, and then at first they're like trying to rationalize it, like, oh, let's kill all the old people because they're going to be dead soon anyway, or let's try to figure out who's bad in this group and kill them off first, and they're trying to, and none of them know why they're there.
Yeah,
they don't know if it was like aliens or a government program or just some asshole or Steve Jobs or whatever the fuck. So like it's like. Are we supposed to try to find all the bad people and get rid of them and then they'll let us go? Or like everyone's trying to rationalize all these different rules and figure things out over the course of it?
No, it's always simple. It's always simply just like a lunatic did this.
And it just keeps progressing and progressing, and people's theories keep getting crashed down, and betrayals and alliances, and like people start allying against each other because
like
at least this group can try to wipe out that entire other group if we can get the numbers for it and all this other stuff, and like all these dynamics are just coming out, and it's so relentless. Like
it sounds like one of those like really nihilistic conclusions where it's just somebody going, we want to see the human condition.
It's one of those movies where people say, like, I hated the ending of this thing.
Yep.
Because here's a minor spoiler, a spoiler of sorts, is that I won't say how it ends, but the way it ends is the way I've always said I wanted all these death game things to end, which is that the thing ends the way they said it would.
There's just one person who lives.
Like And which is weird because in this case they didn't say how it would end in the first place.
Yeah.
It just was the inevitable.
Well, you always
conclusion.
have to have.
But like
some
every
everything.
death game ever, you subvert the death game and then you beat it and then you win and then like secretly like 5 people live, or you kill the guy that made it, or some other shit happens. Like I think like in Hunger Games they trick them into they do the suicide trick. We're like, we're both going to kill ourselves, and like, well, we need to have a victor, and then like they show their weakness by like letting the game let both of them live because of that little trick. And then Hunger Games 2, fucking like a bunch of people escape, and the whole game is uncalled. And then usually by the time you get to the third part of this trilogy of any kind of death game thing, usually the last one is about fighting the government that made the death game.
Yeah,
in the first
usually
place.
it's not about like
and there's not even a death game anymore.
Yeah. The death game is the rebellion.
Yeah, and like in Battle Royale, more people live than we're supposed to, and I think they literally kill the guy that was running the game.
Well, yeah, he just sits there.
In Condemned, I think the bad guy's getting away in a helicopter and they blow him up or something, and like
Sounds
also
fair.
like every fucking death race, all the American ones that aren't about teenagers. All the ones that are about old like adults and shit.
Yeah.
All those ones, the main guy, I think they did it in Gamer. They definitely did it in Condemned, and they also did it in Death Race. The old guy is like some guy. It's like he's like an ex-cop, or he's like some kind of other guy that had like a family and was not a criminal, but he was like usually the guy that ran the game or someone like killed their family and framed him for killing his own family, so he's the one innocent guy in the death game.
Yeah,
they can't even let the guy actually be a bad guy, and like none of that bullshit happens in Circle. It just the premise just plays itself out, and you just keep going, and I'm like, yeah, all right. And like, there's all these Chekhov's guns in the group. Like, those two people are a couple. They know each other. And these two people were rivals with each other. And like, some people are realizing they know each other from throughout the group. And like, that guy's a criminal. Those two people are children. And like, that person's pregnant. Like the group is diverse enough. You're like, there's a lot of variables to consider in this thing about who to kill next and stuff like that.
Literally everyone.
It's all asking to be interesting. And I'm like, I just had fun watching it play out.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't derive joy from randomly watching movies because
there's also the Cube trilogy where they just made one movie 3 times.
Yeah, because
it's just the same movie 3 times.
My problem is like usually if I see a movie that was good, I kind of just walk away neutral from it. Yeah. But if I see a movie that's bad, it ruins my mood. So
weird.
So like a good movie doesn't.
But you can consume like infinite anime.
Yes.
And nothing will happen to you.
No.
Have you ever had your mood ruined by anime?
No. I even the movie I went and paid to watch that was not that good, it didn't ruin my mood. I was like,
well, then I guess if you
disappointed father.
If you want to empathize with other people, just pretend they're talking about an anime when they talk about something they care about. Just pretend it's an anime that doesn't exist in your world. And then you'll understand, because it's literally the same concept.
Well, but again,
but you have a weird filter in your brain.
Yeah,
where
like
you can't enjoy. Where you somehow a movie can ruin your day.
I just can't do that. Like I do that with anime all the time, where I'll just go through a list and I'll like, yeah, I guess that looks interesting. I'll watch it. Why not? And I'll just watch it. But if someone's like, what movie do you want to watch? None. Literally none. I don't want to like turn off Netflix. This is an insult to me. Like
For me, the other problem is just I've been watching so many shows lately that I haven't really been watching movies very often. And a lot of it's just been Netflix. Like I'll just find a weird thing. I'm like, yeah, all right. I'll watch 2 seasons of The 3% on Netflix, which is this, it's you would hate it because it's all Spanish. Yeah, I think it was all Spanish. I'm not super great with languages, but I think it was all Spanish. It's about I think I told you about this before or something, where like basically all of society is fucked. Like there's just like no resources and everyone's like poor in this one setting. But they do this test every year, and where everybody who's coming of age that year all takes this test. And if they pass the test, and approximately 3% of people pass it every year, then they go over to the island where they get to join in on the like just the better society.
Yeah,
where it's like it's higher tech and they have all this medicine. And it's just like a beautiful utopia place, but they keep it that way by not letting anyone in, basically. And so it's more or less the usual formula where like the first season is a bunch of kids going through the test. and then also seeing all the injustices involved and all this other shit. And then the second season's about like it's a combination of like it's mostly about like subverting the test, where you have some people who pass the test and some people who failed the test from season 1 and what their reactions are to that afterwards. And also the idea like some people specifically are trying to get through the test so they can infiltrate that society to bring its downfall or to open its gates and like to stop this whole test thing.
Why?
That shit's
Do they
happening.
kill the people who fail?
No, they don't kill the people that fail.
Then what is wrong with you? You failed the test. Just live your life not in the 1% area. Deal with it. Like, why are you gonna
Just be resigned to failure.
Well, it's just like, why are you gonna destroy other people's lives because of this? It seems like really fucked up of you. Like these people just took the test and passed the test. It's not like they paid money to pass the test. They took it like you did, and you're just being a spiteful bitch because you're not smart enough. Like, that's your fault. Be better next time. Kill yourself. Come back as a smarter person.
That's not how. None of these things are how things work.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but you're stuck being in a low class society.
Like, half the time I watch something, I basically get the premise, and I'm like, I just want to see how this plays out. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I'll just go with that. Like, I watched a show about how rain kills people. I think it might have just been called The Rain. It's one of the rare cases where I saw the season 1 and I'm like, nah, I'm done. I actually gave up on it. But it was just a show where the apocalypse was that the rain kills everybody. Like,
okay.
Like the rain touches when the rain touches the rain touches you and like it infects you and you have seizures and you die. So, and as you expect, there's one character that's immune to the rain, and then maybe they're going somewhere with that. But for me, like, I think it was the finale, just like the finale of season 1, which I think is only like a 6-episode season. Like, it just like I'm like this finale is too stupid. I can't do this. I can't. I'm done. My
thing is, like, there are plenty. I've seen plenty of bad anime, but I mean, I finished all of it. But the problem is, like, it just like I take it more as a lesson, I guess, because for me, anime is a thing that I look at as a hobby. Whereas watching a movie is
a hobby.
Yeah, like anime is a hobby to me. That's why
it's like you got to keep up on all the hot animes.
Yeah, so I watch all the new shows coming out every season. I read all the manga that's coming out. Like,
so you watch anime the way that I treat video games as my job, where like I have to be aware of all the things that are happening and stuff like that.
Except I don't get paid for it.
No, not even remotely.
No, but
you can only make negative money on that.
Well, yeah, but. Unless
you make your new anime YouTube channel.
No, that's like the worst idea. I hate YouTube anime channals.
That's why you got to make the good one, the only good one. Everyone will love you.
There's no such thing. Like, talking about anime, you're just an asshole. Like, there's no like bastion of calm reasoning voice in the anime world. You're all assholes. Stop.
To be clear, we've had this conversation so many times.
Just leave it alone.
And you're like resentful towards the idea of talking about anime, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'll talk about it on Discord, or I'll talk about it like in person with somebody. I'm not gonna make a channel about it. It's just like the most self-serving bullshit where you're just like, I don't like Sword Art Online, and no one can like it because if they do, they're idiots. And it's like,
which is basically a real video title.
Yeah. And it's like, for what end? Like, literally explain to me what is the gain for doing this? Because
I've actually watched videos like that before. I watched a video where it was like, and this is why anime is not a real gambling show, and I'm going to compare it with kaiji. And I was like, I kind of want to hear someone talk about kaiji for a bit. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about though, because they're talking about some anime girl thing that's also a gambling show.
They're talking about not.
It's on Netflix.
It's a Grego.
I keep seeing it. It's just some girls that are gambly people doing a thing. And he was talking about why that's not a real gambling thing, and Keiji is a real gambling thing because there's actually gambling happening.
You're talking about Mother's Basement. That's who the fuck you're talking about.
Probably.
It's Kakeguri. Kakeguri is
that was the one. I recognize that name.
Which is you know what it is? It's a fucking gambling anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. About gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Kaiji is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, Mother's Basement. You're an idiot. Why don't you learn how to fucking tell the difference between a genre? Like,
well, I think the criticism was more the idea that like it's the story is literally about gambling, but the show doesn't actually deal with it correctly. Like, I remember, like, reading issues of Hikaru no Go.
I think
where, like, the Go playing was incomprehensible or off camera, and which is, I think, what most of the show, basically.
Yeah.
And at some point, the show is just not really it's
not about Go.
show.
Yeah.
It's the story is all about people playing Go tournaments, but the actual Go playing is completely gone, aside from, like, the end of chapter thing where they're like, I'm going to teach you about this move, which was in the manga every time. But, like, that was the most Go that was in every issue, was the dumb little tutorial message at the end.
I've seen the movie.
So I think that was the distinction they're making between
I've seen the episode
and Kakaguri
that you're talking about. And and that's why I say that's why it's like his mother's basement. He's a full of shit. Because, one, he didn't read it, clearly. He must have just watched it, because must be an idiot. Two, yes, in the anime, it does come off like it is not about gambling. But that's because it needed more seasons to get the point, like Kaiji did. Because the difference with Kaiji is that Kaiji is a self-enclosed story about a guy trying to pay off debt by gambling. Yeah, which is how he got into debt.
I love that he's an entirely selfish character.
Yes,
that's one of the fun things about it.
And I'm not saying Kaiji's a bad anime. It's great.
To finish it, but I think it was because I was binging it. I kind of burned out around the time they were playing dice games in season 2, and I'm just like, I've watched a lot of this now. Maybe I should have waited a year after watching season 1 or something.
I don't know that long.
Because I watched all of season 1. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, now they're doing dice games. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for another season already. It's a lot.
I watched all of it in one go. That anime that he's talking about it's less about Kaiji's level of gambling, which Kaiji's level of gambling is desperation turned into, it's like an underdog story. So the idea is that Kaiji is an underdog and you're rooting for him to succeed in this gambling addiction, even though you know that this is not the best way to pay off debt, Kaiji. Just go and actually get a job, Kaiji. Please stop gambling, Kaiji. But he won't. He just keeps doing it, and you have to root for him because otherwise he'll die, and you don't want that.
he's surviving entirely on the power of you rooting for him.
Yes, but the other anime is more about it's more about like subverting power. So there's people who come up with unique gambling games, and they're the ones who create them, so they know all the loopholes and the gimmicks, and they know how to cheat, and they know how to do all these things that an average person can't deal with. And the point is the main character comes in and doesn't let that happen. And the fun of it is because you're watching this ridiculously unique game be played by somebody who created it, so they are cheating to win. And you see a person who's like, I'm aware you're cheating, and I'm not going to stop you. I'm just going to raise the stakes even higher, to the point where the person who made the game is uncomfortable. Where they're like, I don't want to go that high on the betting. It's like, but you'll win, right? You know how to cheat. And it's like, okay, that's a little much. Let's just tone the gambling down. It's like, no. We go higher. All bets in. I'll kill myself if I lose. And it's like, okay, please tone it down. Like, the whole point is that the girl, the main character that's the female, is like, she is like looking for the...
It almost sounds like Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually.
It is, but...
Call back to the beginning of this.
But the idea is that she's on a hunt for the thrill of gambling, whereas Kaiji is just trying to survive, where she's trying to put herself on that... She's adrenaline junkie. She's trying to get the high of like... the no hope of success. You're going to lose this bet. You're all in. This is a make or break. She's trying to go for that high every match. But the people that she's versing are people just trying to keep the status quo. They're like, I just want to keep staying rich. And she's like, I don't care about money. I just want the high. And people are like,
I want to die.
Yeah. And so people are like, whoa. Let's tone it down. And that's the fun of it, because Kaiji is more about, like I said, the desperation turned into success. She's more about the insanity of it. Like, this is taking gambling addiction to the utmost degree. And yes, they're not the same anime, because that's not the point, asshole. Like, no, the person didn't make this anime with the intention of like, I'm going to make Kaiji, but with a girl. No, he was like, I'm going to make a unique, different idea, because I have an idea and I say, I can write a good Kaiji story. But instead of doing that, like an asshole would, I'm going to go take that idea and make my own IP out of it. Because I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Call back to my tweet that people got mad at. Well, one person got mad at.
But yeah, so I won't make an anime channel.
That was a weird experience.
So anime channels are stupid. You don't need to bother.
Look forward to more rants like this on Andrew's anime channel.
No.
Nacklesonofsalt.com/videos. That's how the URL works.
That's how URLs work. You nailed it.
There's a really fun scenario that comes up in 3%. that like is one of the examples of what I'm looking for when I watch these kind of shows, and then the thing happens and shit. Which is that like they took all of the people that made it this far, which was like round 5 or so of the game. They're down to like the last chunk of the people.
Okay.
I would guess there's probably like 100 people or something like that. And they lock them. They all go. They just defeated the previous challenge, and it was exhausting. And they all go to sleep in like these bunk beds in this big like warehouse facility.
All right.
And then they wake up, and all the entrances are sealed.
Oops.
They're completely sealed in this warehouse. Every contestant's in there, and they don't know what the test is or what's going on. At first, they just think that they're just going to be there for a while, but it becomes apparent for a while that like nothing. They're just stuck there or something. And they eventually realize that there's one panel that kind of gives you like this code, and in all the different bunk bed rooms there are these switches, these really big levers that are really hard to pull, and you have to like they demand your full attention to put them in the right configuration and everything.
Okay. And
they try to solve the puzzle, and they realize, oh, this code resets like every like 30 seconds or whatever, like an authenticator and stuff like that. And they have to get the full cooperation of everybody, of the entire number of people that are in this, and send them all to the different bunk rooms, and have one messenger that's going to run to each of the locations to tell them their portion of the code, so everyone in the entire group can flip the switches in the correct configuration at the same time in order to get the code to work.
God.
And the reward is food for one person. So they get one person's food, and they're like, fuck, this doesn't beat the challenge. This doesn't let us out. It gives us food for one of us, which means they have to do it a number of times equal to the number of people there are. And wow. So that means they have to, and like every time you give somebody food, they're going to be less interested in helping everybody else if they got away with everything.
Why?
Collectively, that's going to happen inevitably with that many people. And it's like, that
this feels like the prisoner's dilemma again. Like, if you you're going to need those people.
It's like
to
the zero
survive.
escape problem, which is the selfish assholes that fuck everything up.
Well, yeah, but it's like it's not even logistical because like
you're
later down the
this
road,
whole thing that many times, and it's exhausting because it's really hard to pull the levers and everything.
Yeah.
They're like person length metal bars that you're like putting back and forth and everything, and they're all doing this collectively so that everyone could just get one meal. They have to do it like 100 times, and it just keeps going forward from there. And then this idea that they might be still stuck there, and like they get enough for everybody, and they're still not getting let out, and they don't know what's going on or what the puzzle is. And so it starts evolving. Like now there's like the one guy's like, what if we get all the able-bodied men together as like a gang, and we just steal the food from everybody else, and then we can have all the food, and we'll outlast everybody else because they think they're just stuck in here for X amount of time. And like that's their things start getting into factions, and everyone starts warring and tribaling and shit.
Okay.
And it's like that's just one test within the game. Like it's just a fun thing to see the weird scenarios they'll come up with over the course of it, and then also how they even choose the winner. Because like all these people have different ideas of even what the winner is. Because some tests are literally just here's the rule, pass or fail, there it goes. And other ones are like here's a scenario, and they'll just choose who the winner is basically. And it's basically like it's almost like you're failing a moral test to get on the island. And that's what's more or less happening. Down to like even I think one person even escaped through the vent out of the entire test, and they had the option to go home with a bunch of money, but go back home or go back in there and try to pass the test. Like that was the split. Because they escaped up to the room like, all right, you escaped up the vent thing we put the food in. Congrats. That was hard. That looked like the fucking things that she could even the things she could step on were so spaced out. I'm like, how'd you get up there? And she just like has a meeting with the guy that runs the whole thing. And he's just like, yeah, you can we'll give you a bunch of money and food. You can go back home right now, and you just leave if you don't want to go back in there, or you can go back down there and try to like pass the test and everything. And like that's a dilemma they get. There's also one where like when you get sufficiently far into the test, they put you in a room with your loved ones, and they just take this. They have this solid glass cube just full of money.
Okay,
it's like
all right.
And the temptation there is that you and your loved one can just go home with all that money, but you don't go to the island because it's a fail. So you pass that test by declining the money. But like, you might not pass after this point, and that's a lot of fucking money. And it won't be your spouse because they're like teenagers. It'll be like their parents usually, their parents who have been struggling their whole lives and like all that other stuff. So like, it's always different like societal pressures and things like that. And like, and a lot of these are analogs to real life familial pressures and things like that. Like this is playing on this show's messing with really interesting concepts here.
I get
it's fun to play with.
That's the struggle. Like I was
also watching it all in English, so it was hilariously dubbed. It was like watching an anime in English.
Like
with live action.
That sound like the premise sounds usable. But then it just it sounds like it would turn into the 999 or the Zero Escape thing where I'm just like, none of you are people and I can't watch this. Like
it doesn't have that problem.
Or it doesn't have people that literally make decisions that seem irrationally selfish to the point where you're going to just cripple an entire run because you're a fucking asshole. Like,
well, I mean, it's not a death game for starters.
Well, no, but I'm saying like
win or lose.
The idea is that,
and people are generally just trying to win the things. Like one of the puzzles is they lock like 9 people in a room, and it's like they lock like 9 people in a room, and there's 8 coins, and the people who have the 8 coins move on, and the person who doesn't have one gets eliminated.
That's literally not a test.
Like a lot of them are just social things like that.
That's literally luck of the draw. That's not you can't test.
It's not luck of the draw.
How do you get the coin?
They're just in a bag in the room.
That's luck of the draw. If there's not enough coins for everyone, and the only way to get them is literally just by putting your hand in a bag, it's luck of the fucking draw.
It's not luck of the draw because there's nothing saying that like I've now touched this coin, I keep it forever. Like they're in there for like an hour, and whoever has it at the end of the hour is the ending.
So can you have 2 people holding onto one coin?
No.
Is that a rule? Do they
like
specifically state that rule? These are the things I'm talking about. This is why I can't do this stuff. Because I start looking into it way too deep. Like, I'm not going to tolerate this shit. Because why wouldn't I go into this and my first thought wouldn't be I want to succeed. I want to ruin it. I want to ruin the whole game. We're all going to succeed.
There are people who pass tests via technicalities.
I mean,
it's like the people in the show didn't think of that, the ones we're watching. But like, if you propose that idea, I don't know, it might work. I don't know.
That's the thing. Is like, but like, I would be in.
There was somebody where they had a bunch of weird 3D puzzle pieces, and they had to make a bunch of cubes.
Okay.
And so like they were like they'd be like Tetris shapes and shit. And you're trying to make like 3D cubes out of them. And so what somebody did is they couldn't quite make enough. They only
couldn't print enough cubes.
No, like there was a time limit to make as many cubes as you can, and you're all in a circle.
Okay. You're all
in a circle around one giant pile of parts, and you're just grabbing them and making cubes in your station and stuff like that. One person passes the test by literally the last second of the test grabbing somebody else's cube and putting it on theirs. And then time passes, and then at the end, it's like, oh, look, I have all the cubes, and you don't. Somebody else passes by taking their cubes they made and stacking them so that they make a larger cube, in addition to the inside cubes. Like one of those diagrams where like, count how many triangles there are, and they all form a larger triangle too, which counts also. So like, then that's how they passed, by having more than the other people. It's like, so technicality.
So it's an IQ test? Is that the point?
Because it's an everything test, kind of. Well, I mean, clearly the tribalism one was like a moral test to an extent.
Okay.
Because like it's a it's a big multifaceted test to figure out whether you're
pass.
It's a worthiness test. 3%.
Only 3%.
Yes.
Every time.
Vaguely 3%.
Vaguely 3%.
It's not literally like there has to be this many people. That's just how many people get through.
That's usually just how many people statistically.
You see like a horde of like thousands of people coming in, and when you see the ending people of that at the end that are making the choice to go through at the end, they look like a classroom of people. Like it looks like maybe close to like 20 people.
How many people is it per room? Like how many is it per group of people that go through the test?
Variable.
You mean
like your teams?
Yes.
Like that?
Like how many people are part of your team? I guess. Less than 50, more than 50.
Different parts of the thing involve different numbers of people.
Wait, what?
Like the bunk bed part was everyone at that point.
Yeah.
But like other parts were like, in some of the early ones, they were just in random groups, and they weren't even really teams. They hadn't even met each other. Like the cube one happens at the beginning, and they're just thrown in random rooms to just do this test, and they're just next to random people. But for some of the ones, there was like a series of like 3 or 4 in a row where there was a group of like 10-ish people that were like kind of stuck together for a while, which kind of ended at the tribalism room.
Okay.
but like they can't, because you can't keep the teams together because some of the tests are about one person of this group being filtered out, and some of the tests are everyone fails, like this, as in like the team passes or fails. And then some of the tests are there are no teams and there's something weirder shit. There's weirder shit going on here that you don't even know about. Like one of the ones is that they have you have a crime scene and they have to solve the crime scene. And if they don't solve the...
Excuse me, they did that already. It's called Danganronpa. Yeah. You can't steal other people's ideas.
So like they have the crime scene. They have to solve the crime scene, and if they don't solve it correctly, the entire group fails. So all of them are out. Yeah. And like
very familiar.
Yeah. But even then, like those extra layers, like they'll eliminate you for reasons they didn't tell you about.
That's not
like
how...
They eliminated people from the crime scene one, even though they passed, because they didn't do anything. Like they had nothing to contribute. So like you can go home, and they just kick them out.
I would be infuriated by the lack of any structure in this test.
You might start to see why there might be like this resentful resistance group that doesn't think that thinks the test is unjust.
No, actually, I'm less on the resistance side. I'm actually like more on the elite side now.
Why? Because they're more of assholes?
Because the resistance are idiots. Why do they keep doing the test? If you stop doing the test, the city eventually fails because there's no one living there.
That's not... Well, the resistance isn't the collective group of people.
Those who are not part of the 3% should stop trying to be part of the 3%, and then when the 3% die off, you have no one left to be part of the 3%.
I mean, that's what the resistance tries to get people to do, is to tell them not to do. We gotta move on. We're so deep into the show.
I'm just saying.
That nobody has watched. We are so deep into the show.
Let's do another question.
I'm like, oh shit, he's drawing me real deep into this. I'm like, I could do this. We could do a fucking 3% spoiler cast if you want to watch this show.
I don't.
But like,
no.
we're going. I'm like, I just had the realization like we're so far into this.
I like to think of things, but like that. The show sounds.
It's really weird to have you be like, I'm anti the resistance, and I'm going to say exactly their point. I'm like, what?
Well, like, I'm anti because
what you're saying is exactly what the resistance wants. But you're like, but that's why the resistance is stupid. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
Well, no, I think it's stupid to try to bring down the 3% in their method. I think it's smarter idea.
I mean, there's more to everything I've said in the actual show.
I assume
it's like a 40-hour show.
Yeah, it's
next question.
So let's see. Sorry, Andrew, in advance, but this question is more aimed at Keith. That's fine.
Shocked.
So Keith, your income seems odd as you continue to YouTube. You get more subscribers, then more views, so more money. Is this the case? If not, why? Your thoughts. Are you concerned or excited for the future of your channel? I would hope excited for the future of your channel, because otherwise concerned is...
Subscribers go up, but viewership does not always go up in proportion to how much subscribers go up.
Yes.
Because there's just like a lot of people just subscribe to a bunch of shit and don't pay that much attention to what they subscribe to. Like Andrew here. Because like, you have a YouTube channel that's just subscribed to a billion things, and you'll just like randomly open YouTube to the front page and maybe watch something and maybe not and move on.
Pretty much.
A lot of people are like that. A lot of people just stop using YouTube. A lot of people just will lose interest in a particular channel, but just still be subscribed and just not watch their videos unconsciously, kind of.
It's like an idea of I'm showing support because I still want you to...
Not even that. Like, I'll have a channel where, like I've done this plenty of times where I'll watch a channel for a while and I'll still be subscribed, and I'll, like, find myself adding their videos to the watch later list or something like that over and over again, and then after like 6 months I'm realizing I'm just not watching any of their videos, and I'll like control F my watch later list and just delete every video they've made from that list, because I'm like, clearly I've lost interest, and then I'm subscribed to the channel. I'm like, I guess I just don't want to watch their videos, apparently, just realizing that one day. It all comes down to like how much people will watch them. I'll do a stream and people are like, he has 55,000 subscribers, but only 20 people are here. I'm like, yeah, because those are the people that are like, want to watch this exact game, are available right now, like watching me stream, and like are in the time zone where this is even like a thing they can do, because like 80% of the day is like work and sleep and stuff like that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm like a West Coast streamer streaming from 7 to 9, which even on the East Coast is like 10 to like 12.
Yeah.
And other time zone, it's like in the outside the United States, it's like the middle of the night or the middle of the workday, and all these other things are going on. So viewership is always gradually rising, and my income from viewership does gradually rise, but it rises so much more slowly than my Patreon does.
Well,
like at some point my Patreon was like 25% of my income or negligible at earlier times, obviously, when it was new. Nowadays, my Patreon often makes me more money than YouTube does.
Yes.
And it will only continue to overtake it, most likely, because it's a direct thing. Also, like 1,000 people watching a video can make me like $1, whereas somebody can just give me $1 on Patreon.
Yeah, versus 1,000 people can give me $1, and now I have $1,000.
Yeah.
Which is like the concept here is like if everyone who watched a video, like
Patreon support is so much hilariously more effective than advertising support.
Yes.
Some people are in the situation where they can be all like, I'm all Patreon funded now, and all of my videos have no ads, and aren't I great? But it's like, usually those people are making so much money on Patreon that their ad money is actually like almost negligible by comparison, or the fact that they can advertise that as a thing they're doing increases the Patreon support and stuff like that. But I can't do that. I would literally just be deleting half my income overnight.
Yeah.
But one of the big things is that I'm in a weird, uncomfortable teenage part of my channel where like I'm in the transitionary awkward stage, which is that my income is larger than my income's a bit larger than it needs to be for the exact living situation I have right now, but the living situation I'm in right now is not one anyone would want to like stick with long term.
Yeah,
like I'm awkwardly
eventually you would like to live on your own.
Yeah, like I'm awkwardly renting a room of like a friend's house. Like I don't even have an apartment, let alone like a house or whatever like that. So like I make enough money that I'm not in trouble with what I'm doing right now, except for the part where the thing I'm doing right now is not like a long-term solution to begin with.
Yes.
And so I'm waiting for it to scale up over time because I need to like have an independent situation where I have like my apartment or whatever the hell. And so that then comes the question of like my answer when people and my family ask about my income is and you saw this, is I'd basically say what I thought of during that party basically was like, I'm doing good enough, just not good enough for California.
Yeah.
Because California is so fucking expensive.
Which a lot of even people here will nod in agreement of like, yeah, we all ain't making enough for some reason. Like
I'm so conflicted with California because like I grew up here and I've never left.
Yeah.
I mean, I physically have left before, but I've never moved out of California. Yeah. So I'm in a rare situation where like all of my family and friends I've ever had are here, except for the couple of people I've met online that I've stuck around and stuff like that. So like I'm like, it's hard to make the choice to move.
Yes.
In addition to the scariness of never having moved to a different state alone before.
Oh yeah.
So
I 100% understand.
I'm totally in a situation where like I most likely need to move to a different state so I can have a stable income, and also like because my income is completely agnostic to what state I live in, if I live in a cheaper state, I just am richer. That's a real thing.
Well, yeah, because your wage isn't based on minimum wage, or your wage isn't based on state wages.
Like most people's wages are based in some level on where they live.
Well, yeah, it's always based on that.
Yeah.
That's what minimum wage is. That's what like normal
minimum
salaries
wage, but
are.
also like the salaries of what like a company will often, I think a single company will pay you different amounts based on what state you live in.
Yeah.
So like if you move states, your income might raise or lower based on like the cost of living in that state. Because sometimes you can transfer between branches of one company for things. And that's just a part of the whole process. But if I change states, I just make the same money.
Yeah, which is
so like
nice...
if I go somewhere that has cheaper rent or lower taxes and all that other stuff, and isn't like the Silicon Valley and Hollywood state, then I can just be better. But then I get to deal with being in like a vacuum where I don't know a single person, or I move to the states where I know people already, which is only like a couple of people. It's just Wander and Bird basically. And Bird lives in Seattle, which isn't the best option for cheap living. No.
Because it's like Silicon Valley like part 2.
Then I just get to deal with the fun thing of like all of my grandparents, as we talked about before, are all alive still.
Yeah.
And that's just that's a ticking time bomb. And it's like in the back of my head, I'm like, the moment I move, they're just going to start dying. Not because I moved, but because the timing just works out the way. And I'm like, then I get to deal with this interactions of like, I can't afford to come home for the funeral. I'm sorry, but like, I know I knew them my entire life, and now they're dead. Yeah, and it's going to happen maybe 4 times this decade. All 4 of them are probably just going to start dying relatively back to back. And I'm like, I'll be like, oh,
there's no obligation to show up to a funeral. A funeral is for you. in a sense.
Yeah.
The funeral is for you to move on from if you don't require it.
There's also just the weird element of like, to some extent, kind of just saying goodbye to your family.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you'll see them again, or if you'll ever see any of the people again that you like. If I leave the state, I'm basically saying goodbye to everyone I've ever known, possibly permanently.
Yes.
Like,
that's
there's some exceptions. If my mom doesn't mysteriously die in an accident, she will totally visit. Because she just loves trips.
Yeah.
So she will just be like, oh, where did you move? Oh, what kind of restaurants do you have around there? And she'll have a great time.
But she will, actually. She definitely will.
Yeah, you've met her.
Yeah.
That's what she does.
It's very unlikely you'll even go along with her.
Yeah.
Like, she'll just show up to go to the restaurants there. Like,
she makes a point to visit my brother, like, every month.
See?
And my brother lives in fucking Modesto, and no one should live there.
No one should live there.
It sucks to drive there and be there.
Yes.
And he lives there. It's not great.
Got a lot of drugs,
Can't even drink the water there.
Okay.
I know because I've looked at people's thesis papers about like the fucking like radioactive dump shit that they just put around there that seeps into the water supply.
Look, Modesto,
because I was working at a geology place. Like I know about this shit.
Modesto wasn't the best idea.
I've tested the water at Modesto before.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Oh no, it's not.
Don't even bother with filters. Just fucking buy it shipped in from other better places. You can't live in Seattle, but you can drink Seattle. No, I don't know if Seattle's a good water place at all.
I mean,
that's just a joke.
No, and I get that. Like that's my biggest problem I have is that I'm going to leave the country, which is literally like the most like acts you could do, which is like all of you are dead to me because like I'm never going to see you.
That's why it's rough at one point when like my out fell through, because at one point I thought that like me, Wander, and Shell were gonna get like a large apartment that we can all split the rent on 3 ways.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, that makes it so much easier because there's other people to figure the shit out with me.
Yeah,
and also I'm not literally alone in a new country or a new state.
Yeah,
but that fell through, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't have connections all around the world and stuff like that.
And I mean, that's my problem too, is that I look and it's like, well, what if I can't find a job that I want in the country I want to go to? I just have to go to a different country where I don't know anybody. And it's like, I guess I'll just show up off the plane and be like, I don't know where the fuck I am. Could someone take me here? It's like, you know, like it's terrifying. And the hard part is like anybody I talk to that tells me like, you should do it, or, you know, like, oh, it'll be great. It's like all of you motherfuckers have had people to work with. Like you all have partners of some kind, or you have family, or like it's always been a cooperative effort. It's like you never do this alone to that extent. And it's like it's really tough because like thinking going to a country where you don't speak the primary language, a country where you don't know anything, you don't know how this country works. I can tell you.
I can't.
I can tell you how America
even relate
works.
to your entire decision.
Yeah,
I look at what you're doing and I'm like, I'd never do that.
Yeah.
I would. What are you doing?
Like a rational person would not do that.
Like you just decided to do this one day and you stuck with it. I'm like,
yeah. And
all right, I don't get it.
But that's the thing. It's like it's
you
terrifying.
You won't see me randomly moving to Dubai on a whim. Like I'm just gonna live there now. Let's do this.
I mean, it's not. For me, it's not like on a whim to that degree. It's not like max level.
I mean, I'm sure you've thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been thinking about it every day for like the last 4 months.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I can't relate to any of this decision.
But it's still, it's hard because taking that step
is all monetary.
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, same for me, is because I have to take a step and then go to a country where I have no idea the economic balance. I know California 100%, back of my hand.
Which is the problem.
It's
not a good time.
No, but the idea is if someone offers me a job and says, hey, I'll pay you.
I also desperately want to live in a colder place.
That's insanity.
It's so hot here all the time.
I want to live somewhere hotter.
I am so sick of 110 degree summers.
I'm not. Love it.
I want to be able to go on walks every day forever.
You can.
No.
Yes.
I've actually been like, that's like, you talk about like movies and shit. I've been on walks that ruin my day. I just feel physically unsafe because I tried to go for a walk in the weather that was way too hot, even with a bunch of water. And I'm just like, what have I done? Also, it gets so hot that like I've like ruined my feet before. Where I'm just like, oh, cool. I just have to deal with a blister now.
Oh,
like, this is my life now. And then you what, do I just not walk for several days? And that's more or less part of it.
You pop the blister, put a Band-Aid over it, and you're good to go.
But it doesn't heal properly, and then it just gets like re-worsened every day if you keep walking every day in the heat and stuff like that.
To some degree, yeah.
Like it's like fucking
We all got blisters the first day of
It's
Japan.
never a problem until it's this
Like-
fucking hot. But like for my monetary situation, it's like I am comfortable where I am right now in that when a surprise bad thing happens, like when my car got obliterated, not like in a crash or anything, but just like, it's like, hey, the power steering is gone. Ready for the most expensive repair you've ever paid for in your entire life? I'm like, great. That's not like oh no, I'm ruined situation. Yeah. Even though it's like more than a month's rent for one thing. I'm like, fuck. Because I'm comfortable where I am right now monetarily, except that the situation I'm right now in is not comfortable.
Yes.
Like and I don't mean like, and I don't like, I'm not a greedy person that like wants to keep moving up forever and like, oh, I could always get more. And like, I'm comfortable with relatively little shit, but I literally don't have my own place.
You're not saying like, I want a 3-bedroom house with like, you know, like all this, all you're saying is like, I just want a place that is mine. Which is funny. Quiet,
like, cause you're exactly, it says so much about millennials and of who we are.
Excuse me.
Your example of like an extravagant thing to want is what all of our parents have.
Yes.
A 3-bedroom house is like what normal Americans had 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was your example of what I thought was going to be you saying like a mansion or something.
No.
And you're like, I'm not crazy. I don't want a 3-bedroom house like some sort of lunatic.
I'll just take one. Yeah. Can I just have a bedroom? Like, can I afford a fucking bedroom?
Like, I really just want like a reasonably air-conditioned apartment that has probably fiber because my job.
Yeah.
And that's like,
yeah.
Once I'm there, I'm like, I've done it, you guys. I'm not scared anymore.
That's the incredibly hard part. I mean, for me, like luxury at this point, looking at my options for moving outside of the US is like a bedroom, too luxurious. I ain't got that kind of money. Like I basically need a bathroom and a roof. That's it. If it's got a bathroom and a roof, fuck, man, I'm living the life. But
like, to put it where it is right now, like I live in a 10 by 10 room that is almost exterior to the building, right? It is completely attached. It's not a weird addition or anything. It's not like an exterior shed or anything, but it's a room where the ceiling and all walls don't attach to the house. There's one wall, which is the door wall, that attaches to the rest of the house, and all the rest of it's exterior. It has 2 giant windows that take up 2 chunks of the 2 walls on the exterior, and like it just takes in heat from all sides at all times. And it's only air conditioning, if I close the door, is one small vent above the door, which doesn't seem to even do anything, frankly. And I'm trying to, and like it's 110 degrees during the summer in California, and like I'm just trying to do my job, and I'm like baking to death in this room while I'm trying to record, because I have to close the door and have the soundproof foam on the door and shit like that, just trying to like deal with the privacy of like trying to record in a house other people live in. And like if I had my own apartment, it's just attached to the air conditioning wherever I go. Yeah. And I don't have to weirdly set up barriers and shit because I'm the only person there. And it's all like a reasonably vented thing, and not a weird
also live exterior. Someplace that doesn't have immense heat.
Live somewhere colder, as I've been talking before too. Yeah. And it's like, but it gets even worse because like on top of just like the heat of recording, which like I can kind of deal with it, just drink tons of water and like shower at the end of the day again to deal with the fact that you've just been slop all day. Yeah. In addition to that, like I try to sleep, and like when it's hot enough, I can't seem to ever get my room cold enough to like sleep in sometimes. Like I'll have my door open and a fan, like I have a box fan on the floor that I have like I've tried pointing it into the room and out of the room as far as which way it's blowing. And I've tried both ways.
And either way works.
Trying to emulate computer fans. And I'm just like, I'll have like last night, I was like, I'm going to get to Andrew's place early today. We're going to do the podcast early. Probably have the podcast done at like 1 p.m. and we'll have a whole day of recording and stuff like that.
Today?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And I think it took me like 4 hours to get to sleep. And I was like, I don't know why this is the worst night ever. I couldn't even fully place it. It was like, I definitely felt hot. And I wasn't really sure how hot it was in the room. I don't have like a thermometer in the room or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely hot in the room. I took ZQuil, which is one of my emergency break things. Like, okay, it's going to be hard to sleep tonight, but maybe if I just have this, it'll be good. Yeah. And even that didn't work for hours. And I'm just like, am I going to sleep ever? I'm just like, what the fuck? I had one realization of like, I briefly woke up and realized I had slept for 2 hours so far and the sun was up. And I'm like, oh, this whole night's fucked. My whole schedule's fucked. It's not a good living situation, but it's the kind of thing you can afford at my income in California.
Yeah.
Because everything else is like, if you triple my rent, you get the kind of apartment that people that are only allowed to live in when they're on pension from being retired.
Yeah.
And then you have to like add another 400 to that, and you get like the low entry level apartments that people live in.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Like,
I need to get out of the state.
The
I need
apartments,
to get out of the state for so many reasons, but it's terrifying.
There's like apartments down the way from my house that cost more money for one bedroom than my mortgage is.
Part of me just wants a YouTuber house.
And it just makes no sense.
I just want to get like 3 YouTubers together and just rent a house.
Yeah.
Which is like, because like the costs are so quickly comparable between renting a house and getting an apartment.
You can rent a
oftentimes
condo.
It's easier to do that shit.
Like a condo's a good idea too.
Oh yeah. At one point when we were shopping around, like Wander and I saw like there was like a 2-floor thing you could rent out. Where we could literally live on
duplex is another good idea.
We could literally live on different floors.
Yeah.
And we'd be paying like only slightly more than I do right now, which is exactly how much I can pay.
Yeah.
Is a bit more.
There's a lot of options, not here.
Yeah.
Not in this state. This state
right now
has
I'm in
no
the
options.
awkward stage where I am generating extra money, but it's not enough where my income is stabilized as being high enough to just completely change my life.
Yeah.
But it's high enough that I have like a somewhat pooling bank account in the meantime. But I'm not crazy. So I'm not going to be like, I have this extra money. I'll just move to an expensive place and hope my income equalizes out before my backlog of money goes away.
Yeah.
Which is what some people do.
Which is the I'm going to move to LA mindset.
Yeah, when some people pool some money, they're like, I'll just move somewhere else with this extra money I have, even though my income isn't actually that much higher.
Yeah.
And just hope that my income rises in between the time it takes for my bank account to empty.
Yeah, you're basically taking a gamble. I mean, to some extent, I'm doing that. I will be doing that as well. Like, I'll go over to a country with a job, but I have to invest the money to get over there. And that's
scary.
And that monetary investment.
That's part of the reason I'm just letting money pool right now, is because I know just moving itself might be one of the most expensive things I've ever done. Just dealing with some of that. Part of it depends on how much I take with me.
It depends on how much you take.
Yeah.
I will take...
Like, at one point, I looked at moving vans and their prices, and like which are a price in their own that's like pretty relatively high. Yeah. Which, by the way, if you just like fucking even try to ask the website, like, how much would it cost to go from there to there? And like, they're like, they're assholes about it.
Yeah.
Like, they'll make you like create an account and shit like that, just so like they can spam you with emails, continue asking about that trip you thought about. I'm like, I just wanted to know the fucking numbers.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at the apartment databases, they don't make you make a fucking account just so you can see what apartment prices are in Seattle or whatever the fuck.
If you're gonna move, instead of looking into moving vans, look into shipping crates.
Yeah,
because they'll put all your shit on, like, you put all your shit into a shipping crate, and then a truck comes by, picks it up, and delivers it to your house. But it delivers it like they do with the cars, where it's just one truck that has a multitude of containers. And then it's just traveling across the U.S., just dropping off containers as it goes. And it's really cheap comparatively to like move furniture versus like a U-Haul, which is going to end up costing you like close to $1,000,
for me to be
$2,000.
a big question of like, just what stuff do I want to even take with me?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
For me, I'm taking nothing.
Like, I've kept my same shitty bed from like my childhood all this time because I'm just convinced the moment I move, I'm just going to buy a bed there. Yeah, as opposed to dealing with this one, and that's why I've refused to. There's a lot of decisions I've refused to do specifically because I'm hoping to move and then get a better one there. Yes. My bed's a big one. Like, I have this awkward thing where I love having a memory foam topper, and I've just stuck with that all this time on top of my mattress because I'm like, I'm not going to buy a whole new mattress with it just to find out I can't take it with me and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it's all a mess.
My thing is, my plan is to just literally take a handful of electronics,
spookily under their desks all the time.
My plan is to take a handful of electronic objects and my clothes and call it done.
You're not even planning on taking your computer with you?
No.
Yeah,
it's all going to stay here in storage. And if I find a place, like if life goes horribly, I end up getting married and I have to buy a house in a country, then
life goes horribly and you get married.
Yes, if all goes not according to plan and I'm stuck somewhere, then I can just have my stuff sent over to wherever I live. But until then, why am I going to take a computer? Why am I going to take a desk? Why am I going to take all this stuff to another country when I don't need it? I actually don't genuinely need this shit. I don't need to bring it. I can just have a laptop and use that as a computer. I can have...
Well, you love your computer. You spend all your time with it.
I do. I spent a lot of money and time with it. But the problem is...
It's all shiny and it has lights on it.
Yeah.
And the weird... I don't know what the fuck this case is.
It's a great case. But
you buy cases like an asshole.
Yeah, I do.
Just so you know.
Oh,
yeah. Like, I get like these sleek looking shapes and shit. You're like, mine's a hot rod.
Yeah.
I have a race car bed. I'm like, what the... These aren't anything, right? There's not like, this isn't liquid cooled.
No.
These are just weird, like, it's like fake mufflers and shit.
Yeah.
Like
it's
you got pretend pipes on this thing like it's a hot rod.
The problem is I want particular fan sizes. And those particular fan sizes come with the gimmick of, we're going to make it cool looking.
The dumbest cases ever, this Alienware bullshit.
Yeah, because
it's like a hyper case.
Because I want the front
open.
Yeah, well, to an extent, you can pull it off.
Oh,
but
so I'm like, there's a fan pointing into this thing. It seems like inefficient to point the fan at a.
Well, it comes down, comes down and out.
Seems like it'd be better cooling if it was just open.
Well, it's got these vents on the side. Regardless, the idea is...
Shadow, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast,
How you
Shadow.
doing?
Hi. The idea is
Have you been noise polluting? Have you?
Pretty much. But yeah, I mean...
wonder how much they could hear the chewing in the background. It'll be like those Twilight Imperium episodes where everyone gets mad at me because somebody was chewing ice. And I'm like, I didn't even notice they were doing that in real life. And these people are mad in the audio.
Well,
you never know what stands out and what doesn't.
We have time for one more question.
All right, question time. We're so good at questions.
And we are, actually. This is the last one we have.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, we only had 3 left?
Yeah.
And this is the one that came in today?
Yeah.
And they still haven't said... So I was like, hey, guys, you asked questions today. And they've got one.
Yeah.
And, it's not even a good question. I saw it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, when will you play Zero Time Dilemma, and how high of a chance... or how high will the chance of Andrew having a stroke be?
Oh. I literally don't know if we will ever play a Zero Time Dilemma.
I don't know if we'll ever get to Zero Time Dilemma, and if we do, the level of stroke chances that I have are probably going to be far less than I will have just living.
Like just that, okay.
Just my day-to-day life will give me a stroke more likely than Zero Time Dilemma.
I guess people don't get that this is like, sometimes you're just like doing a show.
Yeah.
So like,
I live a very modest life of sitting here quietly not doing anything. Like I don't live high octane stressed Andrew.
No, I just mean like the yelling and everything. Like, like it's not like made up.
I mean, I am mad, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not made up. But still, there is the thing where you're doing a show.
Well, it's overplaying, yeah. I am, the emotion I'm feeling is genuine. I'm just not feeling it to that level of extreme.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm upset, I'm not literally upset to the point where I'm throwing my fist through the wall.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Like, it's not literally made up. Like, it's not like an act. But also, it is that thing where you're just playing it up.
There's somewhat,
it's like a heightened version of yourself, just because normal people don't even talk while playing video games.
Yes.
Like, you don't really express yourself. You kind of just sit there with a dumb blank expression on your face and go, sometimes. Yeah. Like, it's humans. They zone out, and they look like that guy from South Park that was, like, leaning back and, during the WoW episode.
Yeah.
That's what people look like when they play video games.
For the most part, yeah.
By even making yourself speak at all, you kind of change the nature of your expression to an extent.
Yes.
And that's what that is. And, like, you're not genuinely losing your mind or anything like that.
No.
But,
I don't, like,
for me, the question is just, like, there's a very real chance that because, like, we spent, like, it's either 6 months or a year between 999 and Zero Escape. I don't really remember which one it was. I think it might have been 6 months between us finishing 99 and starting recording Zero Escape, but it was closer to a year by the time people started seeing it.
Yeah.
But it was somewhere in that margin. We take a break because, frankly, these games are incredibly long and incredibly monotonous. Yeah. And that was only made more true by Zero Escape, which is way worse than 999 for those aspects because of the nature of its structure. They're like, we just need a break to not drive ourselves crazy. Because can you imagine playing Zero Escape for like a full year straight? I mean, that's like kind of what it would be like to play them back to back.
Well, to an extent, though, like if we played this game back before, back in the day when we recorded every day,
yeah,
it would be minute detail. We would be done with it.
It'd be easier when we lived in the same city.
Yeah, because we would just play it for like 2 hours and then be like, okay, fuck this, and then we'll play something else.
Move on to something else.
Yeah,
but now it's like we meet up once a week to do it. And
we meet up
like
once a week to play
like our day.
one game for 4 hours and make no progress, and it's
do like a 2-hour podcast, then 4 to 6 hours of this game where like almost nothing ever happens, and you do that for like 3 months. It's
you do it
really
enough times. Yeah.
So like we reasonably take a break between each game, like mandatorily, basically, and it'll likely be like a year before we play the next one.
Yeah.
If we
you're not gonna see Zero Time Dilemma until like 2019 at some point, or 2020.
But then you have the additional problem on top of that, which is that like both of us are likely changing our lives in that margin of time.
Yeah.
And like I just don't know if it'll ever happen.
I'll have my mic with me.
There's a very real question of like whether us doing the stuff remotely even has like the same atmosphere at all, or works the way it did before. Yeah. And like whether or not any of it works at all, because like I feel like I've recorded stuff with you online before, where like sometimes it works and sometimes you are like barely there, and like the whole depends. Like there's a very real atmosphere change. Like I've always been bummed out by the fact that when I record stuff with Wander and Bird, it has to be online. Yeah, I want all of my group Let's Plays ever to be like us sitting in a room together.
I mean, I prefer
like if it's one of those games where you have to play on a computer that's separate from all the other ones. I want a fucking LAN party recording. I want us all like in a. I want the achievement hunter setup where like they have all their computers in one room and you're all sitting in one room and playing, because it's just better.
Yeah, the energy is
just better to be in one room than to be online.
Yeah.
So the unfortunate thing is that if the third game ever happens, it's going to have to be online, and there's very real concerns of like whether that'll even work. There's technical things to figure out, and also the levels of like can I maintain Andrew's interest when it's like not even just like Let's Plays in general, but like a Zero Escape game online.
Yeah.
Already in this one, there's moments where you like.
I mean, I thought about it.
You wander off. Like you'll like.
I go get food or something.
No, or like you'll be like, I'm gonna look something up online, or like I'm going to like not be looking at the screen at all for periods of the show,
because I just listened to it. There's nothing going on.
I've caught on to the fact in like it wasn't happening earlier in the playthrough, but later in the parts of the playthrough, there's parts where like I can tell you're literally listening for the that means Sigma's talking, so you know to look at the screen to read the line, and otherwise you're just not looking at the screen.
I don't need to.
Which, to be fair, there's very little happening on the screen, but there's a very real risk of the split attention leading to like lower quality like observation and everything, just because you're splitting attention. Yeah, like it's the thing where like you never know how much you are or aren't taking in if you split your attention, because there's the problem of like I've had the thing where like I have two screens, so like when I'm home I'll bring up something on Netflix and then I'll get drawn into the comment section for a second there, or Discord for a second there, and not notice how much I've missed, and then I'll realize like what's been happening this episode. Fuck. And like that kind of realization, like you never can fully appreciate how much you may or may not be losing if you split your attention and stuff like that. And like if you're in a different country, on top of dealing with the technical problems and the time zone problems, and I literally have no idea what's happening on your end. And like the like trying to wrangle you for like this like 80-hour adventures in hell. I don't know if it'll work.
I mean, I've thought about it because there's a lot of situations. Well, like specifically, I do this exact same problem with Naya when we record stuff, and so I've been thinking about just in general curious solutions to this problem. Zero Escape is actually an easy one, where my solution was I would just load the game on my end. And I would
because you could play it on your end, and you'd have all the audio and everything, and you could just be playing along.
And I just hear your voice and just pressing A when you press A. So
that might be hard. To sync up all of the dialogue with each other.
Well, the thing is that we don't really have to sync it up, because all I need from the game is I just need to know when it's my turn to say something, which I can do by simply just pressing A and going through it.
Yeah, but the problem is that the whole thing where we keep doing asides and all that other stuff is like, how do you know when to press A all the time without me literally saying it?
No, because I'll hear, because the idea is I would hear your game audio. You just won't need a screen share. I'll have my screen up. I'll hear your game audio. The moment I hear someone talking, I'll just press A, go to the next screen.
You're talking about a setup where you can hear my game but can't see my game?
Yes.
This gets so confusing.
Because seeing the game...
As you might imagine, it gets incredibly convoluted to try to play a not online game via somebody who's online for co-commentary.
It's tough, but I mean, there's ways to make it work. It just takes a little bit. The question is whether after you go through all these hoops, if the show's good or not, like whether it's even a watchable thing. Oh yeah, there's a lot of. I'm sure
if we keep doing stuff online, I'm sure our initial tests will be something that is like a throwaway experiment game.
Yeah,
that no one cares about, just to see if it even works.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. Yeah, just a very real risk the moment you move that's just the end of our saga of couch things. And at best, you join the crew. Probably not the crew because of time zone problems, but you just become another person that I play with the way I play games with Wander and Bird.
Yeah,
which is you play online multiplayer games exclusively, and you play them as a cooperative or competitive experience, and there is no co-commentary thing anymore, which is the basis of what we've done for all these years.
And I think
like the version of us that plays like Alone in the Dark 2008 and is sitting on a couch and just experiencing the game, like that might not be a thing that happens anymore.
And yeah, that kind of stuff is like, I've been trying to think of solutions to it, but yeah, there's a lot of you just have to throw your arms in the air and go like, these things can't be fixed.
Yeah. Because you just don't know until you're doing it whether the commentary even like works ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, the thing, all I can do is like, I'll have my equipment because it's just a mic. I'll have my equipment and I'll have a computer that can record properly, but there's also like delays. Well, that's the thing. Is like that's why I'm saying like I'm trying to find solutions to compensate for delays and compensate for.
Like one of the things I saw was like Mandalore Gaming's new video was about like a mod for a Dawn of War.
Okay,
and he sometimes he'll cut to live commentary, like little moments that he was recording, and you'll realize he's in a lobby with other people that are watching what he's doing, and he'll react to something like, oh my god, and then like 5 full seconds later you then hear people react to it when they finally see it. Like that's the whole thing. It's like it's never the same. And like it's such a pain in the ass that there's reasons why every time I'll propose it, Wander will propose it, and like Spider even used to propose it, because Spider used to try to do a whole show that was like this. It always falls through whenever we talk about plans for like a local commentary style thing via the internet. Like there's so many things that make it worse. It's a bummer.
I've experienced this enough times in I play,
because you record stuff with Naya via the internet, and even registers its own other separate technical problem, which is that the solution is so convoluted it started to fuck up your recording itself and make that unusable, and you're like, oh fuck, there's an additional problem that's happening now.
It's nightmare,
and then you get unusable footage as a result and things like that, or you have to spend like 50 hours fixing a 10-minute clip because all the audio is all fucking up.
It's a pain, but the thing is that there's solutions, but like surprisingly, like I've been streaming playing MMOs. I was playing Elder Scrolls Online with a friend, and
which, by the way, subscribe to twitch.tv/thesadgames if you want to see Andrew streaming.
I do it every day.
Because it's not on his YouTube.
Nope.
He's banned from streaming on YouTube because of the porno videos.
You make it sound a lot worse than it is.
He uploaded episodes of Mirror, and they're like, you can't do that. Here's a strike that you can't contest. Fuck you. So you just have entire features.
Second one, by the way,
such as streaming, are just deleted from your channel, and you can't do them until the time expires.
And this is the second strike that they gave me for a Mirror video, but they gave it to me after the first strike left. So it was like, hey, everything's
they're not stacking, right?
No,
because 3 strikes, your channel's deleted.
Yeah, but so they're not stacking.
You currently have 1 stack.
Yes, I only have 1.
Yeah,
and then the moment 1 left, they're like, you have a new one now. And I was like, well, no, because then you just banned me from streaming for 6 months. And it's like, it's fine.
So if you want, so follow Andrew on twitch.tv/thesadgames if you want him all to yourself, because there's like no one there half the time.
Yeah, no one's over there.
You can just talk at him like directly.
I'm trying to
he can be all yours.
Trying to be an affiliate, but I have to have a whole number of average viewers first.
You have less than 1 average viewer.
Yeah.
You have like 0.9 average viewers. Yeah. It's like, oh fuck.
It's life. But I mostly just do it to play. It's just like I'll be playing something stupid and just streaming it. But no, I was playing
you play MMOs and Battle Royales and Overwatch.
I was playing Elder Scrolls, and even that, we're playing the same game. and it's not like we're playing on any kind of delay. Like he lives like a state up.
Yeah.
So it's like the same. There's not like it's not intercontinental internet transmissions, and
intercontinental internet.
And we're not. It's not like I'm streaming my screen to him. He's playing the game, and I'm playing the game. But the game itself is still like I have to wait for him to react because I will accidentally press X too early, and so it'll start a cutscene of some kind, and I'll see something happen. I have to go like, oh, and then I have to wait for him to react, and it's like, you got it now.
That's the whole life. Yeah, that's the life that happens constantly with whenever I group up with like I do like the Wander, Bird, and Shell or some configuration there within on some MMO or something.
Yeah.
And you were in some of those too, where like if it was anything besides Old Republic, basically, we'd have the weird problem of just like everyone experiences cutscenes at different times or talks to people at different times or voice acting happens at different times, or like you click on this guy and you get whisked away into like a weird cinematic with a swooping camera that goes on, and everyone will be reacting to what happens in the cutscene at different times, or like we'll be wandering around and waiting and sitting there quietly but also not doing anything on our screen while we wait for the other people to finish their cutscene because you don't want to talk over their cutscene but you just finished 30 seconds ago. And like it's all such a fucking nightmare.
A good example is
I love the shared dialogue in Old Republic by comparison, just because it fixes that.
If you go on YouTube and you search
especially
up
the holograms,
that
fixed everything. They're like, you're not anywhere near the dialogue happening, but you can press the hologram button to join the dialogue as a hologram. Yeah, and you can all experience it together every time. I'm like, yes,
yeah, that's a great system.
I was so mad that everyone else didn't want to keep playing Old Republic because it's the best MMO to let's play.
I think WoW is also a good is good enough. Most of the instances tend to be on the same time. Because like the moment you kill a boss, the person shows up for everyone.
Well, once you get to Legion, there's a lot of really weird,
Legion,
a lot of weird cutscene quests.
Yeah, happening. Legion has a lot of in-game, like mid-mission cutscene stuff, and that starts getting convoluted.
Or you start getting into multi-stage instanced story missions.
Yes,
where all of you are just experiencing a different part of the mission at any given moment because you just got to the next thing and shit's chaotic, and you're not even playing a multiplayer game anymore, but you're all trying to record together.
Yeah. It's if you want to know what it's like trying to play video games with like 3 people and there's different reaction times, like go on YouTube and search up reaction video compilation, and you will see the nightmare atrocity of like you have 6 different people reacting to the same video clip, but they're all on a delay. And even though all the videos start with the video clip starting at the same time that they're watching, they all just have different reaction times. They all react to the thing in a different, like everyone just, like I could see someone get backstabbed and I go like, oh, okay. But then it hits me. I'm like, oh wait, that was that guy who got backstabbed. Where it's like, someone could watch it immediately and go like, that was that guy who got backstabbed. And you're like, there's this huge, everyone just,
reacts at different times.
Yeah. And being on a couch is so much different because that happens instantly. I say like, that's that guy. And you're like, that's a guy?
There's also the no one's listening to each other thing.
Yes.
Here you talk about like, why do they all talk over each other and no one understands what anyone says?
Because we all hate each other.
Going on. And it's like, when we're playing like Deadly Premonition, I mean not Deadly, Alone in the Dark and stuff, we're sharing one screen.
Yes.
We're experiencing the same thing at the same time and we're next to each other and we can talk directly to each other and it's like a different thing. But like last night I was playing Dark Souls Remastered with Durf, Bird, and Wander, and like we aren't in Dark Souls, you're not even in the same world as each other half the time because it's so convoluted to summon each other and everything like that. And so like we're trying to give Durf directions of how to get to the depths, and we told him how to get to the depths, and we told him multiple times, and he heard none of the explanations. And it's because like it's such a cloud of talking.
Yeah.
There's 4 people seeing 4 different screens and processing what's happening on their screen and their own particular world and multitasking and like buying their upgrades and shit like that and navigating their world while 4 people are talking. And it's no human can fully parse all that half the time. And like, it's such a weird mess. And like, you'll see this in anything like Achievement Hunter or any multiplayer let's play / stream where each person has their own computer and is playing a separate world from everybody else, is that they will just not register what each other is saying like half the time. Yeah. And that's just because that's just part of the difference between that and like our Zero Escape experience of like hanging out on one screen and just like being a thing, and it all goes at the pace of what we want to go, and like we'll have these asides and everything. Like that whole dynamic is super hard to replicate artificially. There's the internet. There's a big deep
black hole of stuff involving Let's Playing.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to save the show, donate us so much money that we make like $50,000 a year, and then I can get a place, and I can also, I mean, like $50,000 a month. No, that's not. It's too much. I don't know.
$50,000 a month.
I don't know money.
That's like Philip DeFranco style.
I don't know.
Like,
some large amount of money per month. I haven't really done the math.
you trying to run for president? What are you gonna do?
I need so much money per month that I could get my own place that also has like an office type recording area we can use, and I can hire you, which you would probably agree to if you just fucking floated for it.
I guess, yeah.
If it was like Game Grumps, like, hey, I'm hiring you because I have the money to do that.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll play video games with you. So that's how you save the show. As you can tell, it's rather doomed.
Yeah, you need roughly...
That's basically the only way to keep this going.
We wouldn't be able to live in Yeah, it couldn't take place in California.
We can't even afford to live in the same town as each other right now. That's what we've been fighting through so far, and that's about to go away.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many monetary things get in the way of just trying to do a basic show. That's why so many YouTubers are solo, or they're so rich they just hired all their friends.
Yeah. So, money is basically a blight. You would need roughly about like $1,200 to make that functional, like, because you need to rent your own place to live, but then you need enough to pay someone else to afford to live. But then you need to pay
a lot of money,
like the rent on a building that you work in, including all the utilities and the internet, and then that same thing for your home. You need a lot of money. And
it's a nightmare that I've not even tried to process yet, because it's literally a fantasy.
Think of it on the Rooster Teeth level.
It's all like an impossible fantasy thing that isn't even in the scope of what I can imagine happening.
Yes.
It basically won't happen.
It would need to be like, you would either need to somehow, well, it's not unreasonable. Again, you have to, if you put it into a ridiculous perspective, if even half of your subscribers all donated $1, you would have enough money every month to do whatever the hell you wanted.
Well, yeah, because half my subscribers donating $1 a month would be $25,000 a month.
But think about that.
That would be so much money. But people don't. That many people don't even watch a video I make, though. So
I know.
It's like a lot of them aren't active to begin with, or they're here on a whim or whatever. And,
but even
and they're watching me so rarely that I'm spread amongst 100 people they watch, and they can't reasonably support everyone they like with $1 and stuff like. There's a lot going on, but
I'm just saying.
But there are people that will just not support anything.
Yeah, but I'm saying there is that. It's just that concept level that you have to accept, which is like, again, 20,000 it's a 20,000 people donating $1 would solve all the problems, but how many people do you need as a subscriber to accumulate that much money?
People.
You know, like, it's like, because you imagine if Game Grumps had a Patreon, if they threw up a Patreon, based on their subscriber number, I don't even know, man. Would they have more than 50% of subscribers donating at least $1, or would it be like an amazing amount of 10% of subscribers that they have for donating $1?
And this is why, like, there's part of me that's like, I get it when I see like all the channels that like morph their channel and pander and change their identity and go crazy, and they get wildly successful. Oh yeah. Like, I'm in a Discord with a bunch of YouTubers, and many of those people, I saw their channels become a different channel over the course of like a year. Yeah. Where their thumbnails massively changed, their content massively changed, and a lot of them, what they did is they skewed for way younger audiences. And they got wackier and highlightier, and their thumbnails started having like their face looking shocked in them, and the same like really, really bright bubble font with the game name and stuff like that. And like, it's happened. It's like so many channels have just completely rebranded, and the reward for rebranding was some people were kind of mad for a bit, and then they just made way more money. Yeah. And so, like, on some level, I get why people do that. Like, it's a super big bummer to like betray your audience and just do a completely different thing. But at the same time, like, it affects your whole life. Yeah. And like, so like, it's your business, and you're literally making the sane choices that make your life better. And I'm like, I'm literally incapable of doing that. Like, I can't. Yeah. Like, that's like, for me, basically, I literally can't work at a restaurant, and I can't, like, I'm bad at interacting with people because I can't do like greeting card interactions. Yeah. Where like, I'm just like force on a smile, and I'm like, hey, how's it going, buddy? Like, whenever I go to these family get-togethers, I feel so odd because I'm just like I'm here now. Hello, would you like to talk about something? Please talk to me about something. It's so weird. I need to just start a conversation, because I can't just be like, we need a thing to talk about, please, because I can't just be like, I'm gonna do polite, happy small talk about, I'm just gonna make up
And that's always weird to me because like I can do that.
No, I can't.
I can just show up and just be talking to strangers. I still don't even know who that person was I was talking to at your.
I can't like fake responses to things. I don't know who that person was either.
I don't know.
They weren't my family or friends.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know who that person was.
There's some other person.
But I had like a 15-minute conversation with this guy about Dubai.
Yeah.
And that's
something I can do at least because it's like there's a conversation is happening.
Yeah.
But like I can't just make like just reactions and just be like the life of the party or whatever the fuck. Like
I mean, it's kind of to some degree it's
like
acting.
A topic to happen or
like
something.
that's the thing is like you look at those people like again you look at PewDiePie.
Whenever I try to do that stuff, I just hate myself.
Like Cinnamon Toast Ken. those aren't people.
Which people are like you need to be more like Cinnamon Toast Ken. And I open a Cinnamon Toast Ken video. I'm like I'm revolted. I'm mad.
That's shots fired.
Like you saw the one I linked, right?
Yeah.
What game was that I linked?
I don't even remember what game it was.
It was not a wacky game, right? No. It was like a serious game, if I remember correctly. And it was
Zero Escape.
Oh yeah, it was Zero Escape.
He was literally playing Zero Escape.
Yeah, he was playing Zero Escape, and the video I clicked on, he's like, "Hey everyone, it's Cinnamon Toast Ken!" And then like it zoomed in on his mouth, and it warped and did that meme thing where it like does the bubble bulge, and then he like high pitched voice over his voice. And I'm like, fuck off. Like I was literally just like, and then like is that what the 12-year-old's like?
Yeah, and then like he's like playing
it's like infuriating.
He's like playing the game and but like it's like like you make that laugh, but it's like that's
what they're really doing.
Yeah,
like,
but it's like mid conversation, it's almost like he has a fucking hotbar. Like he has some kind of contraption next to his desk.
I clicked through a few different episodes, and every episode starts with him like warping the camera and making a voice as he introduces himself, and it's like, oh fuck, I can't look at the video.
Yeah.
Like I can't process the video because the first seconds of the video immediately poison the well for me. Where I'm just like, oh my God, I hate you. And this isn't a judgment of him as a person because I haven't even literally watched his content. Because I can't get past the intro where I'm just like revolted by the thing that it's like this. It's like, It's like you start with PewDiePie, like, hey, everybody, it's PewDiePie. And it's like, that's like, PewDiePie! Where it's just like a live, unedited, like, oh, he went a little high for a second when he introduced himself.
Yeah.
Like, that's like Bulbasaur. And Cinnamon Toast Ken is like Venusaur. Or like maybe the super Pokemon, like 4th evolution, temporary evolution they made. You know those ones? What are those called?
Omega?
The Mega Evolutions?
Yeah,
like
Mega Evolutions.
Cinnamon Toast Ken's like the Mega Evolution of Bulbasaur. Where it's like it keeps going further. And now he's like, it's like the Digimon thing where he's like a knight for some reason. When he used to be like a cuddly stuffed animal. Now he's a knight in armor. I'm like how'd this get this far? Like this is so many mutations past the thing that was kind of annoying before. And it's like it's so many levels more annoying,
and my thing is like
it must be even more effective.
My main thing was like I got through the intro and I was like, wow, that was really tough.
Yeah,
and then the
man, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I was like, whew, that was a lot of work. And then immediately I was like, okay, well, let's see the game. Like, let's see how he plays the game. He like presses A, a line goes through, and then it like cuts to his face. Like, yeah, and he's like, what? And I was like, what? Wait, where'd the game go? Why are you here? Go away!
It just cuts to him being it's full lace, like the crazy reaction.
It's like he has like a fucking bar like they do in TV, and he's like, cut to camera 2, cut to camera 3, cut to camera 3, and it's like, and he just keeps cutting to different like. Cameras
for me, I'm like,
it's like, what the fuck is happening?
I could see us having face cam for something like Zero Escape just to like. Because it's us hanging out and reacting and everything, but like it would never be that fucking insane. Types of reactions YouTubers have, I'm just like, what are you doing? I
mean, I have face cam when I stream, but it's just mostly for like just the personableness of it.
For me, like sometimes I'll sing a song and I'll be like, I'm just gonna fucking gulp down all the embarrassment and just not acknowledge it and just power through. And I'm like, I couldn't do that full time. I do that for like a 50-second clip sometimes. And I'm just like, oh, I hated doing that. Like I'm having fun with it, but also like I'm just like for all the parts of it that are embarrassing about the whole performance and everything. And I'm like, I can't even imagine just like the entire video being something I'm always embarrassed by. Yeah. Like I'm just embarrassed by everything I'm doing. Because then
you have to go and edit it.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part.
That's a lot of editing.
Yeah.
To just really highlight how like that.
That's the thing is like he puts so much effort into like zooming his face in or doing these warps. And the thing that bothers me is I'm like, but you don't put any effort into the playing of the game. That's the whole point.
What I'm basically saying is I can't be Steve from Blue's Clues. which is what a lot of YouTubers are.
Yeah.
They have to be that full time.
What's that, Blue? There is a clue.
They're just doing a bizarre like act thing. I can't go there.
I do
can't
that.
Be that.
Like we talked about, I do that to some extent.
That makes you a millionaire.
To some extent, I do that with my anger, but the problem is like doing it positively is just not possible. I cannot be that hyped for nothing. Like it's
some crazy stuff.
Another person as Jacksepticeye is like unhumanly hyped for things.
Or like the top of the morning to you that can crack glass.
Yeah.
Like it goes so high. You're like,
top of the morning! Yeah, it's like,
boy.
Like, why are you doing this? And the problem is like I watched
and I'm just not in the demographic, so I'm just like, I don't even know why is he doing this?
Yeah, but like I watched one video, like I actually sat and watched an entire video of his, and I
know that if I showed somebody my Red Letter Media video or whatever, like that I happen to watch a given day, they'd be like, this is boring. This guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But like I watched one of his videos and I was exhausted. Like actually exhausted by the end of it. Whereas like he had so much energy that I didn't want because it was clearly fake. But I was just like, I was hoping that there might be some lull in this high octane like hype mode that he would just kind of tone down and be like, oh, what are we doing? Are we just playing the game? But he's the whole time, what are we doing? Where are we going? What are we... And I'm like, just fucking don't stop. Like, stop doing coke. Just like, take the...
It's probably telling that, like, the single most, like, hype, crazy, outlandish live action thing I watch on all of YouTube is probably iDubbbz. Like, and that's a lot, right?
High,
like I was watching his.
It's high energy, but
I was watching his squirrel video with like the lettuce launcher and stuff, and it's like he's still just speaking completely in deadpan and just doing this thing that is just an absurd concept.
Yeah,
but he's not like losing his mind and literally exploding on camera.
Well, because like the thing about iDubbbz is that he's overreacting with his actions, not with his words. Yeah. So when he talks to you, he's talking to you regularly. In a sense, but what's happening on the screen is not okay.
Also, I just felt his pain when he did the lettuce launcher and just saw the mess he was going to have to clean up that was not planned. Did you see that video where the whole room's just coated in like weird lettuce sludge because it just blew up wrong, and that's his life now, and it's all like hyper textured, detailed, like cabinets and shit, like not even like a flat wall you wipe down, but like it's all of his kitchen cabinets. And I'm like, oh, there's so many little details and nuggets of shit where you're just not gonna get it, and you're gonna find lettuce later.
Yeah. It's just that's the thing though, is that you have to, a lot of the people that you see that are successful are not real people, and you have to accept. It's just like movie stars. It's like Bruce Willis isn't actually John McClane. Like he doesn't.
I guess that's part of my problem is that all of popular YouTube is Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah,
Kevin Hart was funny for like a couple movies, and then I was like, I'm done with this forever now. Yeah, but YouTube's that forever. It's like it's really interesting to watch. Like
YouTube is just Happy Madison Films. Like that's literally what all the top YouTubers are just people you really can see in that lineup.
All the top YouTubers and like the Logans and shit like that, or the Pauls. I mean. And then looking at like my Keith's recommended videos playlist and like what different planets those two
like represent. H-Bomber Guy and Shammy, and like you're looking at people who are again like there's absurdist actions going on, but the tone.
I'm like, hey guys, remember Film Cow? I still watch Film Cow. Sargnog the Harchog. I love that video.
It's but I don't know. It's tough. YouTube is tough. You have to make a lot of sacrifices if you want to be hyper successful. I'm just
powering through with sticking with what I've got. Yeah. And maybe one day I'll plateau and in my paradise of being Northern Lion, where I've reached the maximum.
You'll make enough to survive.
I just reached the maximum equilibrium of whatever the fuck my tiny niche is. Yeah. And I'm like, this is it. This is my life now forever. And I'm like, all right, sure. I'm okay with this.
Meanwhile, I'll be in some random country shouting at locals about anime.
Meanwhile, I'm just in the slow climb up still, which has both been faster than I ever imagined it being, and also still like just years of not being able to make any changes. Like it's always like I'm always surprised by how well things have gone, and also still impatient at but I don't want to. I'm baking in this room, please, please.
I mean, to my perspective, like I just look at it as a time thing where I'm like, I'm almost 30. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like,
whereas for you, like we both started this when we were like 21 and 22.
Yeah.
And you're about to be 30, and I'm about to be 30 a year later.
Yeah.
And it's like, it either has to go somewhere or not.
Yeah, it's like I have to.
For me, it's gradually going somewhere, but not enough where it's like it's hard to justify it to other people when I talk about what my job is.
Yeah,
to justify that. Yeah, this is a reasonable income source. And for you, it's like it's just not making any money.
Yeah, it makes
like,
no money.
Didn't go anywhere, and at some point you just got to move on.
I have to adult.
And we just have to get over the fact like it might be the end of the content we've made for all these years because at some point like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. That's
like even within my channel, like I like making the Andrew content, and there's like a sub following within my audience that's psyched about the Andrew content.
That's weird.
And there's people that love to see you show up in videos, but it's provably true that like the stuff that anyone else is in, like Wander or Bird or you or anyone, almost always does worse than the other content on my channel.
Well, yeah, of course.
People largely subscribe for that content. Yeah, that's how they find me generally. So that stuff always does worse. The one exception really is 999, which is like the amazing thing is like everyone's like, why are you playing this games? And if you hate it and I hate it and I'm going to keep hate watching you hate playing this game.
That's why we're doing it. Because you keep hate watching us. Yeah, like and that hate watch views are good.
999 is like the most successful Andrew series outside of Tokyo Jungle. Like it's
Tokyo Jungle. Never forget. That's
the horrifyingly successful series. Yeah. The 999 series did so well. And part of it is that it's controversial opinions, so people are yelling at us, and all that engagement and dislikes and anger makes the videos get promoted even more to the point where we become one of the top promoted 999 playthroughs and stuff.
We're winning based on your spite and ire for us.
But the thing is, like, despite all that negativity, you might think like, oh, it's a hated series, right? No. So the whole time we're playing 999, people are being hyped about like when's the next episode coming out? Like, this makes my day every day. I'm like, I'm gonna be so sad when this is over. Like, people love those playthroughs.
I mean, we're having fun.
It's just they
hate them.
Yeah,
like that's the difference.
People love those playthroughs, and we're also having fun making the videos.
Yeah,
if you haven't been paying attention since 2011, it's kind of what we do. The two of us often we play good games too sometimes on purpose. Yeah,
when do we do that?
We do play good games, but we also have a whole formula where we will play a game that's bad on purpose and just kind of go through it. Yeah. And that's like our whole thing.
It's the fun.
I don't know if people noticed. And yeah, people will defend everything.
Yeah.
Like, people, like our Sonic 06 playthrough and our Alone in the Dark 2008 playthroughs, people talk to us in those comments like we're the crazy ones for thinking they're bad games.
Alone in the Dark is unexcusable.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, people are, and people levy all the blame on us.
Yeah.
It's like, the comments on 999 are not special.
No.
That all the counter arguments and shit and proving us wrong and all that crap happens on every bad game we play.
But the difference is there's a lot of you on 999. Yeah. There's a lot of you
who
just...
But they're wrong.
Yeah, well...
Because we keep proving most of them wrong about,
it's
like,
not
everything.
About whether they're right or wrong. It's just like, that's why they do so well. It's because there's so many people who want to express those opinions about how wrong we are. But we're just having a shit-ass time. We're just like...
Although half the time the comments just cheat half the time anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they'll be like, Andrew got mad at this puzzle, and Andrew got mad at that puzzle. But that puzzle is one you guys couldn't solve, and that one's a puzzle that it was too easy to solve. It's like, wow, it's like they don't know what they want. What a contradiction. It's like almost like context matters, and things can be bad for different reasons, but also like... It's also an individual person's opinion. Yeah. And like what Andrew and I say are not the same thing also, and all these other things. And it's like...
And usually...
You're right. You just proved the entire series because you did like a green text little thing for a second where you're like, bracket this thing, I win. That's like half the comments. It's like...
You argued like a true 4chaner. Welcome to the
Congratulations. Internet. You're the downfall of society.
Oh,
congrats.
Well, that's all the time we've got for today. Thank you for tuning in.
Everyone will die. You will die.
We are 100%.
Everything you love will die. Well, that's the moral of this podcast.
It's the moral of episode. Most things in life.
But that's also explicitly the moral of this podcast.
Yes.
It's just the temporary nature of all things that you enjoy.
Yes.
Hooray.
Speaking of temporary nature, we are out of questions. So if you have more questions, go ahead and send them to us.
No one actually asked us questions.
What is it?
We go through them so slowly that we still had some left, but that was actually not a lot of questions, and we're all out now.
What is the email?
Sit and discuss podcast at gmail.com.
There you go.
It's in the description.
Yes.
So
it was in the description.
If you can't find it, it's in the description. I think it's also on the SoundCloud, not in the description of the video itself, but I think it's in like the sidebar or something. But if you can't find it on SoundCloud or iTunes or whatever, you can just go to our YouTube version of the podcast and you can copy it from there if you can't remember what the email is.
Yep.
Ask us questions. Please don't ask us, will you play game?
Because the answer is always maybe.
When when you play, when you say stuff like when you play something like, if you will you play God of War 2018, the answer is almost always like, I don't know, I'd like to, maybe, if it works in the schedule, maybe someday I could. Because I do this and
it's an actual maybe. There is no yes or no subtext
I do
here.
this and Wander's starting to get close to this also, and like there's just like there's a thing where you gotta like force yourself not to say yes, because there's like infinite games practically that you would like to play.
Yeah.
But like, unless you have time powers, it's like there's too many.
Did you see Relevant?
I don't have a hyperbolic time chamber, so I can't just play every single game that came out this year that I'd like to play.
That reminds me of
whether I like to or not.
The tweet Jim Crawford did. Did you see that one? Where he said he was talking.
You said you cleaned it up. You lied to me.
Anyways,
you super lied. It's right there.
Oh, he made a tweet about the idea that he was talking to somebody, and their response was, "What would happen? Like, would it actually be an impact if no one made games for a year?"
It wouldn't affect me.
It would affect nobody.
I'd be like, cool,
how could it affect you?
Now I can play all the Devil May Cry games and the Silent Hill games and the Yakuza games and I'm like, I have such a impossible.
That was Jim's argument. It was like, oh my god, I have so many games that yes, if all companies ceased existing,
I'm like fucked. Like I have like 2,000 games on Steam. I've got countless other games everywhere else.
Yeah,
I've got like, if you just ignore every indie game I want to play and every interesting title, there's just like the franchises. Yeah, like I want to play the Devil May Cry series. I want to play the Resident Evil series, or the Silent Hill series. Like like the first 4 of each or something like that. That area of the franchises.
Yeah,
and I want to play the Bayonetta games. I want to play the Metro games. I want to play what's the name of the Russian like post-apocalyptic series? Stalker. I want to play a Stalker series. Like there's entire franchises I want to play, each of which are like 3 to 5 games. Yeah. And there's many of those. I want to play all the Metal Gear Solid games on my channel, all the Metal Gear games even, maybe. And maybe not. The NES one's actually kind of like they're not fun anymore, honestly. But I want to play every Metal Gear Solid on my channel. I'd love to. It's like, But like,
where does this
literally me playing every Metal Gear Solid game back to back would be a time slot of my channel accounted for an entire year.
Yeah.
Like that's how long it takes to play some of this stuff. And it's like every Yakuza game, the Yakuza games take me like 2 months each. Trying to play the entire franchise might take 2 years. Like it's like the video games are fucking long.
There's a lot.
There's so many of them, and there's an impossible backlog. Like and every time I play any game in any series, everyone's like, "When are you gonna play the whole series?" Yeah. Like I played Silent Hill 1, and I'm like, I'm not against playing every Silent Hill, but like, there's like 10 of them. There's like 10 Silent Hills. 4 if you count the good ones, but there's like 10 of them. And also people can't make up their minds if there's 2 or 4 good ones or 3 or whatever. People go back and forth. A lot of people cut it off after the room.
Even 4 is still a lot of game to play.
It's a lot of game to play.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, I don't know.
But yeah, so
like part of me is like, maybe I'll play, like right now I'm playing Pathologic.
Yeah.
And Pathologic, I've checked other people's YouTube channels, and when I see that they tend to take like 50 to 70 episodes to beat one campaign of it, and has 3 campaigns. Because Pathologic has 3 characters that all go into the same town, and so you're in the same map.
Okay.
But every single quest is different, which is neat. Kudos that every character has different mechanics.
It's great.
And a different storyline, and literally different side quests. Not even the same side. Like
that's so much content.
Yeah, and I'm like, cool, but also like, is Pathologic 2 also going to have 3 campaigns? Because I was literally like, I should beat Pathologic before Pathologic 2 comes out. Wouldn't that be nice? And I'm like, fuck. I might play this game for 150 episodes and then Pathologic 2 for 150 episodes. Or like, I'm like, part of me is like, can I beat Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3 and DMC before Devil May Cry 5 comes out? Whenever that comes out? I'm like, maybe,
Maybe.
but I might have to play them all back to back.
Yeah.
And like Zero Escape franchise, like 999 took like 52 episodes. Zero Escape might take 100 episodes, and the other one's probably somewhere in between those. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And like this conversation is all you'll get. So just watch this conversation that we just had again. If you ever are inclined to ask me, like, are you gonna play this game one day? I'm like, it's always like, unless it's like Madden 2012, where I'm like, no, why? Like sometimes that'll be my response. But a lot of the time, if it's something if you're in my audience, you're probably suggesting something I might be interested in.
Yeah,
I probably already know about it. But there's no problem with just.
It's not about whether you know about it or not. Just go check the list.
Yeah.
There's a list that exists.
It's not fine to point out that a game exists, though. Pointing out a game that exists is fine because that's just.
Yeah.
I can know about more games, but it only adds to the list. But don't ask me if I will play a game because it's like it's just, there's so many video games.
Yeah,
and it's like people act like it's like people act like you're crazy. Like, what's this mysterious force that stops you from playing the game you want to play so bad? It's like, it's all the other games I want to play just as bad.
It's the thing you experience every moment of life. It's called time. There is a limited quantity.
Get a nice old door with one of those like hilarious shaped keyholes you can see through.
Yeah.
And just try to push a watermelon through it. That's what it's like to try to play the video games you want to play.
Yeah.
Just try to push the whole watermelon in there. And you'll learn an important word that day called bandwidth.
Bandwidth. Well, that's all
See
we
you guys next time. Ask us questions, please.
Ask us questions.
Otherwise, we just have to hope we have a topic for next time, which frankly, they spawn out of nowhere, so it happens.
And donate all of your money to Keith.
I didn't think we'd be talking about Mother's Basement today, but it happens.
At least 10% of your income.
Ties.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's get hype.
No.
Hi, guys. It's Andrew. Today. Hey, everybody, it's time for Andrew to die!
Okay, look, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Did it stop again?
Yes, it
Great.
But you know what's more confusing? Not only did it stop, it loaded up YouTube.
It loaded up YouTube? How long did it stop?